Oh, yeah. A little bit of still point coming at you. Let's give that a second. Let's just let that wash over everybody.
Everybody feeling oh so fine when you smell them hot dogs grilling. It's summertime.
Yeah. Still point, STIILPOINT, summertime. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it all over the place. Folks, share the shit out of this. We're going to tell you about everything that's going to happen. We are going to cover the debate. I'm telling you right now, we're probably not going to be on YouTube. You got to come over, maybe Facebook. I would rather have you go to Wimkin. You can find us on the DUMShow.com, clicking live, and you'll watch it there. You can find us on Wimkin. Just sign up now. Jason, the CEO of the company, this guy is amazing, is going to improve your account. Just give it a few.
The actual CEO.
The actual CEO is going to do it himself. And all you got to do, is put your email in. And if you've got a Comcast email, Google, it's not going to take it. You're not going to get anything. A little bit of still point coming at you. So, we're live. Let's give that a second. Let's just let that wash over. Hold on a second. Let me turn this off. Liv, tell me when we're good. Should be live on Wimkin. Welcome, Wimkin. Welcome, Spreely. Liv, we full joy?
I'm looking right now. Yes.
All right. Close the window. All right. So here's the deal. We got 18 seconds. Comes down to this. YouTube, we're going to stop at like 8:55 because I'm not getting a strike. They're going to strike everybody. Facebook, I'm trusting Facebook to take care of us. They always have before. If not, we're going to tell you where to find us, but tune in. We're here early. We're ready to go. See you in 3 minutes. Perfect ending of that song. Wow. It's almost like I meant to do that.
That was good.
I know.
It's like we've done this before.
Almost.
I was a DJ. Did you know that?
I don't care.
I know.
Angie, if you have not been let in by Wimkin, it's simple. The reason why is Gmail, Yahoo, Comcast, all those emails are Fortune companies and they don't like Wimkin. So it's approved. All you got to do is go in and type in your email and username like you did, your password like when you signed up, and you should be able to get in. If it doesn't work after that, let me know. Jason is monitoring chat. He had a tree like fall on his house last night. We'll go into that. And luckily he's safe. But do me a favor and try to sign in that way. If that doesn't work, let me know, and we'll let Olivia has Jason's phone number, and she's going to text him and let him know. Okay, here we go. Yep, you won't get an email from Wimkin if you have one of those big emails, so just ignore it and sign in like you would. If it doesn't work after that, let me know, and I will make sure to tell Jason. I should be in that spin room. I should be in that spin room for Donald Trump.
Yes, you should.
Because I'll tell you, because I wouldn't, I no shit. Every single one of those reporters, I would have nobody in my booth. Nobody. They'd be like, nope, we're not talking to this guy. Nope. Truth. We don't do truth. know I'm supposed to be saying something right now, but I figured just let it wash over you. I mean, it's a good graphic. Why do I need
No,
to say
I love that.
It's simple. Join. If you don't, you should feel bad with music like that. I mean, stop being an ass. Just go join it.
You know what? I had it.
Hold on a second. I got to do my promo. Shut up, Leroy.
All right.
God. All right. You know what? We'll interrupt the Hard Rock Wimkin logo. What do you want?
I had this crazy thought the other night that at some point you should do just like a one-time thing. You ever seen like those intros where they redo everything in like the 80s comedy kind of thing?
Yeah,
and everyone's smiling at the end. We should do that for me, Amy, you, and Olivia.
You want to make a porn? This is weird. We're going to stop. We'll talk about this later.
Not a porn.
Dude, I kind of want to make a porn. Just saying that we kind of. It could be like Boogie Nights. It doesn't have to be actual porn. It could just, we could have Amy around on roller skates and pigtails, and Olivia could be like in all leather.
Roller girl, yeah.
Yeah, we should be Roller Girl, and then I'll be Dirk Diggler, and I'll put mirrored sunglasses on. This would be great. Fantastic. Nobody would ever have a problem with this. Okay, can we just play the damn ad? Step into a Wimkin.
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Weaver. I am on the Don't Unfriend Me show, otherwise known as The DUM Show, with host Matt Spear. You guys can find the show at The DUM Show on social media or thedumshow.com.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Welcome to the DUM Show, everybody. This is gonna be a good night. It's a lot.
It is
a lot to do. We're going to be busy. We're going to try to explain the rules to you, but first we have to talk about the no suit. I wasn't going to do a suit. I put on a polo though. I mean, like this is.
I'm wearing the perfect shirt.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, you are.
Amy's got one too. So no more in 2024. So I figured I'd put on a polo. There will come a time where I'm probably gonna have to put on a suit some days. It's not today. I'm not doing it. Screw that. But here's the deal. My cover picture was a suit. If you guys didn't see the picture, by the way, talked to Damani today. It looks like Friday. He will be coming on, which will be really cool. But the cover of tonight's debate, there it is, in my tuxedo. That is my tuxedo, by the way. 100%. Everything about it is my tux. So there will come a time, but it's not tonight. So here's the deal. It came
Your neck
out.
looks so thin in that picture. Sorry.
That's AI. That's AI. I had to generate. I've got a picture of me in my tux, but it was too dark, so I couldn't do it. The one thing with AI, what it does is it makes my head, like I have an egg-shaped head. We all know this. It elongates my face when my face is not that straight. So, but it does a pretty good job. I mean, it fools everybody. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, that's you." It essentially allows me to go ahead and do photographs without having to actually go out and pay a photographer. So it's really simple to do. But you're right. That is, it elongates my face. And my face is a little more round because of my beautiful chubby cheeks. So I've had them. Doesn't matter. Even when I was 205 pounds and 196 pounds, when I still had chubby cheeks. I always have chubby cheeks. There's nothing I can do about it. Anyway, moving on. Here's the thing. We found out that CNN, these sons of bitches, listen, the only reason Joe Biden is doing this debate, okay, he didn't want to do this debate. In fact, he said he had no desire to do this debate, is because of the polls. And CNN doesn't want larger grouped audiences to get a different message. Now, let me tell you why. Fox has sold out. Fox will only be calling this the CNN 2024 presidential debate. They have to say CNN 2024 presidential debate. If they don't, Every time they don't say it, they get fined.
Are you serious?
Wow.
Really?
Every single person has to say it.
Narcissist much?
Well, they're doing it obviously because they want everyone to know that CNN has the only agreed upon debate. Now, there's a couple things about, we're going to get into what does this debate mean? That's why we're on early. I'm going to get, hey, hun, can you do me a favor? Could you throw a flying elbow on your keys when you do it? Because it's just not loud enough to make my ears bleed.
Sorry, I need
and
to clip my nails.
I'm hoping you can just slam even harder. And this way we can add some thunderous, force to it too. So my eyeballs fall out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
I am definitely getting Olivia one of those mechanical gamer keyboards for Christmas just to annoy the shit out of Matthew.
Dude, because this thing, I mean, this, first of all, this is $150 keyboard I bought her. Look at how thin. This is an
yours.
Apple. You've got the same one.
No, I don't. I
It's
have this.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's a $79 version. Mine's just longer because of genetics. But anyway, so you've got an amazing keyboard, and even you make it loud.
I got nails right now. I
it's
need to
just
clip
you,
'em.
sweetie. It's just
thought he
you.
was
You
gonna say it
fall
was bigger, but it
upstairs.
was black.
It's playing piano since I was 8.
It's
Play like you're holding the ball.
Leroy
Let's
just said he's like it's
get
bigger
it
because
tight
it's
from the tip
black.
of my fingers.
Leroy said mine's bigger because it's black.
Oh wow, that's funny.
Okay, all right. So moving on. This is what focus squirrels. So CNN has put this out, and they have said places like Benny Johnson, Ben Shapiro, and a couple of others wanted to stream this debate, and they're not going to do it. Well, I'm doing it. I'm putting it on Facebook because here's the thing. What are you going to do? There's no notification. I streamed the 2020s. I streamed the 2022s. There's no reason not to be able to stream this. This is fair use. This isn't copyrighted. I'll tell you what, if we get a click, I swear to God, this is what we're doing. We're opening up donations solely to sue because this is fair use. You can't, as long as we add content to this, and that's why we're doing the hour before, and we're going to have to pause a little bit, especially during their commercials and add context. But as long as we add context, they should not be able to give us a strike. But we will not broadcast on YouTube because YouTube, I just have the people there who I trust and they love the channel, but YouTube is never going to go anywhere for me ever. There's nothing unless, well, if I go global or something or blow up, then I will. But they throttle my ass so much, I can't even begin to tell you. So I don't want to lose that because then people can't watch on YouTube and that sucks. Okay. So we're not going on YouTube. Matt Howanitz needs help. Liv, text Jason.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm talking to him right now.
Okay.
I'm on it.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate you. I didn't say please. So please. Basically, sorry guys, I just gotta give you all the nuance. So we're going to be on Facebook unless Facebook cancels us. If you have not been to Wimkin, you need to go to Wimkin right now. Go to linktapgo.com/the Show. Click on the Wimkin link, sign up. Jason is approving accounts like crazy. Okay. But I'm going to sue CNN. If they force a strike, I'm going to sue Facebook, YouTube, and CNN because this is under fair use clause. And I've had my lawyer write it up. We are allowed to rebroadcast news and also all content that's not copyrighted with context, but specifically news we're allowed to. This is not they're not selling this. This isn't a licensed product as far as being rebranded. This is CNN simply not wanting people like me to tell you the truth. They want this controlled. YouTube is only allowing us to play it from YouTube's channel and play commercials. I will not do that. I am not going to have this censored. I'm not going to have this fact check. I'm not going to promote YouTube. You're not paying me to do that, just like I'm not paying you. And that's against the law. You can't force me to represent you. You can't force me to commercialize your shit in order for you to make a profit without compensating me. That's the way fair business practice and fair trade works. Now, if you're the only place broadcasting the debate and I have to show your logo, okay, that's totally fair. I'm showing Fox News logo all day long. But YouTube is censoring us, and this is why. And I'm telling you this. we will stay on air. We will either be on Spreely.tv. You can go to your Roku, you can go to your Apple TV, your Fire Stick, type in the Dumb Show on Spreely TV, download the app on your device, and you can watch us live. We're on channel Spreely Channel 1. You can go to Wimkin right now, and that's not going away. We will be on Wimkin.
Jace is on right now too.
Jace is on taking care of us. We will be on Twitter.
Thank you,
Elon Musk will not censor this. We're on Twitter. So for my Twitter people who are going to blow up, we'll be on Twitter. Okay? We'll be on Rumble. You can, and if all else fails, you can go to my website at thedumbshow.com, click on show live, and we'll be on there. We're not going anywhere. Every single American deserves to see this. This should be free. It should be broadcast on every fucking channel. This should be signed, sealed, and delivered because this is important. And these motherfuckers, and I'm pissed. I don't talk this way much, but they're fucking censoring and they're already starting. This is election interference. You have to allow people to share information as long as you get accredited, as long as they say, this is, I want to thank YouTube and do at the end of your, give them copyright and all rights reserved. But you have to send out a notification to people and let them know what was going to happen. And I didn't receive anything. And I'm a content provider. I don't care how small I am. That should have been, do not broadcast this debate or you get a strike. You can't keep doing this, YouTube. You guys are a bunch of fucking Nazis.
Now, it would be interesting to see if any of the other networks, i.e. Fox or MSNBC or that kind of thing, if it would be rebroadcast to them, even with the CNN, banner in the bottom.
It'll be on Fox because Fox has agreed and will say to them every single time Fox, this is the CNN debate, the CNN 2024 presidential debate, or the 2024 presidential debate brought to you by CNN. They are legally, in order to rebroadcast this, have to watermark it. They cannot put the Fox watermark logo over CNN, and they have to say, this is what CNN's doing. This is a news media channel. These people are the fourth estate. They are the fourth branch of government that are designed to fact check and fucking bring us the news so we can make an educated decision. And these motherfuckers are blocking people from seeing it. This shit, I will put every fucking cent I have into suing these sons of bitches. We will do a GoFundMe. I will partner with Charlie Kirk. I'll partner with Rogan, and we will fucking go after these guys. Every single podcaster, I will make it my life mission to fuck CNN and Facebook and YouTube over because they can't stop all of us. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I can see this going down. And Tim Pool, I can see this going down one of two ways. If Joe Biden's performance tonight is weak, if it is less than, if it is sour, if it comes off as pandering, if it is in any way while it's being live streamed, if it doesn't seem like it's going to hit the mark, you will see very, very little of this on the other social media networks. Or on any network, really.
Showing the other side of that equation, yeah.
But those one-line zingers that he's been practicing for, because he's hopped up on whatever the hell he is, those one-line zingers, and any time he gets maybe a fair point in, which could happen, right? That stuff will be rebroadcast all over.
More importantly, though, and this is absolutely true. I'm with you. Is that if you don't, by not broadcasting this, you're also doing Joe Biden a disservice because he has to get that middle that middle vote of that 7%, and if they don't hear him, so this hurts Joe Biden. Now, if he fucks up, here's the problem: is that it's not all rights reserved. It's going to be on every campaign commercial. It's going to be on every Trump commercial. This hurts Biden, and in the end, if he does well, nobody's going to know. And if he does poorly, everybody's going to know and get through this anyway. So you're not going to own the news cycle. You should put it out there. But now you're pissing people off. And now this will be, I guarantee you, I promise you this, the most watched debate ever in U.S. history. This, I swear to God, is going to be bigger than the Stanley Cup Finals. I think you're probably going to have 70 to 80 million people watch this. This is going to be Super Bowl consequential.
Oh,
I've got the feeling. I got the feeling this is going to be huge. I really do, because
especially
people
for those
want to know.
independents. Especially for those independents who are kind of unsure, right? And granted, that seems like it's a far stretch for those of us who keep tabs on politics, and for those of us who have our heads buried in the news a lot. But for those who are just like, they really don't care, and so the only time they really start to look at it is during the election cycle itself. For those people, this is that make or break decision time. This is that point where they're going to look at the performance from each and say, oh, I kind of agree with Joe, or I kind of agree with, these are the ones that are in the middle that are still undecided. So
Yeah.
it is important. It's really important.
Also, I wanted to chime in. If you don't have cable and you don't have CNN, how do you
Good
watch
point.
it? You
Right.
can't stream it, apparently. So how are the people who I don't have cable? I have basic cable, whatever I have to have the internet speed I have, but I don't. We
Well,
stream
they're saying they're going to
everything.
do it on the internet, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't help, right? I mean,
It doesn't help.
it'll be on our URL at cnn.com. Yeah, but that doesn't help. There's people who don't have that.
Correct.
know?
But I think CNN had reached out. This is from what I understand from what Tim Pool said. He said, I guess CNN reached. Thanks, whoever donated.
Thank you, Anon.
Anon,
I
thank
thought it
you.
was anonymous. I thought it was not.
It's
Blonde
okay.
moment.
We can say that. Go ahead.
I thought it meant
Go ahead.
anonymous. No, so but Tim Pool was saying, I guess YouTube had reached out to him and said, you cannot stream this. And he was already like, well, it's fair use. I'm going to do it anyway. I don't know if he is or not, but sounds like he's going to. So, no. Thanks,
Thank
Glenn.
you, Glenn.
Thank you, Glenn.
Well, here's my whole thought is that I'm not going to put it on YouTube because I just don't want to deal with it. I really don't. But Facebook has not reached out to me, and nobody else has. So, this is what it is.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
What else can we do? We just gotta follow it and do what we can do, and that's really all it comes down to, folks. That's it. We can only do what we can do, and if they decide to go ahead and block it, I've told you where you can go. Liv or Amy or somebody, everybody want to give them the link tap go and tell them how to
Yeah.
go ahead and sign up? Go ahead.
Post link tap.
No, just tell them what to do, Liv.
Oh, go to wimkin.com.
Thank you,
right?
Stacy. Thank you.
Stacey.
Folks, go to linktapgo.com/The Dumb Show, and you can go ahead and find all of our links to all of our pages, and I promise you we'll be up somewhere. We'll be up on thedumbshow.com, we'll be up on Twitter, we'll be up on Rumble, we'll be up on Spreely, we'll be up on Wimkin. We recommend if you would, please go to Wimkin, sign up at wimkin.com, and fill in your email address and your username, all of that. Now, listen, it's really important. If you have a Comcast or a Google email, Yahoo, big corporations don't work with Wimkin because they are complete assholes. It doesn't matter. Once you sign up, Jason is approving accounts. Give it about 15 minutes and go ahead and hit approve. The great thing about Wimkin is you don't have to an account to participate. You can just watch. I want to thank everybody for the donations. It's incredible. Everybody pitching in and helping. You guys are awesome. And I thank you so very, very much. It means the world to me that you guys help out so very, very much. So thank you. If you want to provide a little bit of help to the show, you can do that by going to LinkTapGo and clicking on tip or PayPal to donate, and your name will pop up here like everyone else is doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Frank.
You guys are awesome tonight.
Yeah, you guys are
Yeah.
amazing. We appreciate you. I think everyone knows that we're gonna get in a fight here with the censorship crew. But anyway, this is where we're at. Thank you, Violet, as well.
Thank you,
$20.04. Thank you, guys. All right.
Now,
Matt
do
is
we
now.
wanna-
Go ahead.
Do we want to explain how this is going to
Yes.
work as in terms of
Yep.
once the debate starts and
All right, so
yeah.
let's do that. Leroy, why don't you explain it to everybody what we're going to do,
All right.
and we'll demonstrate even though Olivia just left.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we all have on our phones these red and blue colored, you can see that panel, and if we believe that particular point should have gone to Donald Trump or Joe Biden, we're going to flip that, and we're going to keep scores as we go, and each one of us all have that panel, and at the end of the night we're going to see how close we were.
And you guys can see how it's working right here. What I'll do is I'll wait for everybody at the end of the segment to go ahead and type in their points, and we will accumulate based upon us. I think there's going to be 6 different topics here. So the maximum points would be 24, if my math is correct, 24 points out of 24. We are going to try to be very, be very honest. I mean, if we get an answer from Biden that we like, we're going to give him a blue. And if we don't, we're going to try to be, I have a feeling no matter what, Trump's going to win because he speaks our language. But there are some things that maybe Joe Biden could say. And all I ask is that, do you agree with 50% of what he said? If you agree with 50% of what he said, you should give him a blue, right? That's just the way it works. At the very end, we'll also, if we have a tiebreaker, we'll have everybody put up who they thought won with a final vote. And that person, we have the ability to give up to 4 points left or right, or divide them however we want. We will talk about that afterwards. Jonah says, thanks for approving me. I didn't approve you, buddy. That was Jason over at Wimkin, the CEO. He is working tonight, and he is making sure that all Don't Unfriend Me followers are getting approved so we can play the stream. Let's talk about the debate itself. Everyone understands how we're going to do the point system. It's pretty simple. You guys can go ahead and participate if you want at home. Keep your own score and let us know what you think, because that's important. Unbelievable, the amount of donations tonight so far. People are just freaking incredible as always, and we really appreciate you.
Do we have the ability to do a control F? Thank you, Sarah. To do a control F for a particular words, so that if the dummies wanted to go ahead and put in their red and blue comments, maybe they type in literally red or blue, and maybe we can kind of grade that at the end of the night.
Here's what you should do is, when we rate, you should rate, and I can go in and count all the reds and all the blues, and Olivia can do that. But honestly, just participate. Like when a segment is done, allow Joe Biden to answer. When he's finished gabbing and blah, 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 go ahead and type in blue, or nothing. Right. Here's the point with the scoring. If we all like Joe Biden's, everyone get to blue real quick. Everybody get to blue. If we like Joe Biden, and we like what he said, we're going to hold this up and turn your brightness down.
There we go.
God, it's driving me crazy. I can't see it. It's on the screen. Wrong way. Okay, so everybody's blue. He would get 4 points. Now, say Olivia doesn't like what he says, but Leroy does. Okay, so Leroy's just going to leave it up. So Leroy leaves it up, so Biden gets 1 point out of a possible 4. Okay? What we don't do is say Biden is going right now. He's talking, right? And he says, he gets done, and everybody put up your blues. Oh, yeah, like Amy and I do this. We're going to give the point to Trump. Well, Trump didn't talk. You can't do that.
Right.
So if you don't want Biden to get a point, you just put it down and don't say a word. If you want Trump
while Biden was talking, could I do that?
Right. So if you want to give Trump a point, you give him a point. If you don't, you don't give him anything at all. Liv, here's the deal.
Yes.
Is at the very end, if there's a tie, which there won't be, but if there is, we will do a tiebreaker, and everyone gets to vote which candidate they felt won. And then all we're asking is this: we know you're not going to agree with everything Joe Biden says. If you agree with, let's say, 75% of what the candidate says, you should give him a point. That's fair, right? 75% you agree. If it's more than half, you gotta pull back and, obviously don't do it. Okay, everyone understand how this works?
Yep.
Okay, I think we've got it all figured out. Now let's talk about debates. This is, like I said, probably going to be one of the largest debates in U.S. history. Why do you guys think that this debate, out of all debates, even though everyone knows how absolutely controlled it is by CNN, why do you think this debate is so important to the electorate? And I'm interested to hear your opinion. I've got mine, but I'd like to hear yours. So, Olivia, you go first, and then everybody else I'd like to hear about. Renee, thank you so much.
Wow,
Renee.
thank you, Renee.
Renee,
Thank
thank
you.
you so
Don't walk
much.
away, Renee.
Renee, we want you to tip again. So Leroy promises he'll never do that again. Liv, your thoughts. Why is everybody?
I think, in my opinion, a lot of people are logging in and watching to see if Biden falls flat on his face and how much of a fool he's going to make of himself. I think people on the left are watching because they think that Trump is going to be an asshole again and is going to interrupt Biden and be the same guy he was in 2020 and then fall flat on his face. And I think that's why a lot of people are watching, is to watch the candidate they don't like make a fool of himself.
Interesting. Okay. Ames?
I actually think, I just have a feeling that Joe Biden's going to be on whatever B12 shots or whatever cocaine. I don't know what he does, but I think he's going to, allegedly, I don't know. I have no idea.
But don't forget to put allegedly in there.
Allegedly.
I
don't know.
He can't sue. President of the United States can't sue you while he's in office, so you can say whatever the fuck you want. He's a public figure. There's no such thing as defamation towards the President of the United States. So go ahead.
I don't know what he does in his personal time, but I do think he's going to be on whatever he needs to be on to be with it and snappy tonight. I can't remember. Is he allowed to wear an earpiece? I know Trump is not.
No,
but is he allowed?
He cannot.
Okay,
he cannot wear an
earpiece.
earpiece. Let me tell you the debate rules. Yep. He has a diaper on. So here's
Jonah.
Thank you, Jonah.
Thank you, Jonah.
Here's the debate rules. There'll be 2 commercials for 90 seconds that they'll split the debate. I would assume that they'll probably do them just a guess at the 40-minute mark with those commercials is what I would anticipate. Maybe the 35-minute mark. It just depends. I don't know. I'm assuming it's a 2-hour debate, maybe an hour and a half actually. So it's an hour and a half. So they will do it in the first 30 and then the second 30, I would assume. So changing my tune a little bit. That way they got to stand for 30-minute gap and then a final 30 minutes. So they're going to put it at the 30-minute mark. That's a lot of time. Okay. So if everyone's got 2 minutes, this is going to go, hopefully, in my opinion, I know a lot of people are negative about this, but I like the format with the mics turned off. I don't want their fucking mics on. I want shut up. I want to listen to what they have to say, and it's going to be interesting. I don't like the fact that, and I hope CNN is not going to fact check in the middle. Let them go. Don't fact check them. Shut up. It's not your debate. Let the candidates fact check each other. That would be one of the best things that they could do. But we'll see. The next thing is with the commercials, there's no earpieces. They have to stand the whole time. They can bring up water, a notepad, and a pencil. No prior notes. None of their attaches or anything can help them in any way, shape, or form. They have to go up there absolutely solo. Super chat. Nancy came in on YouTube, gave us $5. Thank you, Nance.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
Nancy, you are the best. I will put that over here. The big thing, like we said, is that their mics are turned off. I'm hoping the way that this will go. That's Nancy, by the way. We already thanked her, but thank you again. I like the no talking. I like the muted mics. I hope that Donald Trump learns something very quick. If you have 2 minutes, you take 30 seconds and you have last word. You crush what Biden says in 30 seconds, and then you take 1 minute and 30 talking about your position. That is going to go far. There's Nancy for the 3rd time. Finally, I was like, why is it not kicking in? Super chat. Anyway, I hope that's what happens. But I can't promise. So let's talk about debate history. What was out of your?
Didn't let Leroy go. I didn't get to finish.
Shit. Yeah, you got to finish, Amy, and then Leroy. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Amy. Finish up.
Well, I do think Joe Biden's going to do well. I do. And I think people are tuning in to see him do well, to go see he's going to be great for the next 4 years. Although, they want us to forget about the last 4 years that we've seen him. So that's my 2 cents. Go ahead, Leroy.
Sorry, Amy.
So
okay.
No, you're good. So
no,
first of all,
I interrupted her. I was sorry. God darn it. We have delay. I interrupted her and I was apologizing. Go ahead. Sorry. Jeez Louise.
So first of all, I want to agree with Amy. I think that there's going to be a fair amount of force bump roaming around in the White House in order to keep Joe Biden upright at the stand. Um, I think that the big thing that
Thank you
Wow.
very
that
much,
this
Thomas.
the
People,
reason
thank
this
you.
is going to be thank you, Thomas. The reason this is going to be so well viewed is because of the current political division in the country. I think a lot of people are hyper focused right now on the topics of abortion and the economy and inflation, as well as the border and the potential for jobs and job loss or whatever Joe Biden is going to claim that he brought back. To Matt's point, the Mike's muted thing. The key to that is that when you're able to interrupt someone, that's when you can really get in a zinger. When Matt interrupts me or when I interrupt Matt, there's a lot of that back and forth, which because it's live and it's on the fly, those really come across really well as those, hard hitting zingers. But with the mics turned off, there's less opportunity for that, which really means that they're going to have to stick to more contextual information. They're going to have to address more policy than they are those zinging one-liners. I think in that camp, that hurts Trump, but I also think that it does not help Biden because there's not a lot of context there. That's my take.
I think it's a good take. I think it's fairly accurate and astute. I'm going to offer a different spin that I think people are watching it. Yes, because of the entertainment value. Yes, because people want to watch the ambulance and the car crash that they anticipate is going to happen. It's why people watch NASCAR. Everyone says it's for the race. No, it's not. It's for the crashes. Just give me a fucking break. Nobody watches it for the race. The left-hand turn circuit, right? The left-hand turn circuit is about as interesting as the WNBA. So, but I believe truly, for the first time in American history, people are truly concerned with the age of the candidates. And they want to know, can Joe Biden do the job? I don't even think they care about Donald Trump because I think they know Donald Trump can do the job. I think people really, truly want to know, is Joe Biden as bad as they say he is? And that's why they're watching. And I think they're going to find out. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley.
They're going to find, you guys are fucking insane.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
Rumble's crashed.
Oh.
Crash. Rumble's offline.
That
right
doesn't surprise me. Rumble always crashes during these things, and they're getting DDoS attacks.
Yeah, the page won't even load.
It's
right now.
DDoS attacks.
Okay.
Do you guys understand that this is election interference? And sites all over the country will be attacked tonight because they don't want this debate shown. They don't want Donald Trump to win. Wimkin will stay up. Okay? Wimkin's up. If I have to broadcast off my phone, we're showing this fucking thing. I don't care what happens. But I think people want to know, is Joe Biden as bad as they say he is? And I think that's the thing we really need to focus on. And I also think people want to know if Trump has changed. And they want to see if the courts and the press and 4 years of humility, forced humility, because losing the election, whether it doesn't matter whether you think it was legit or not, it's still, he's not sitting in there. And in 2016, Donald Trump thought there was no way he was going to win, even up to the evening. And in 2020, he felt there was no way he could lose. So now I think we're going to see a more temperate Donald Trump. I still think he's going to be brash. I still think he's going to be in his face. I still think he's going to be, but I think Donald Trump will tell his story tonight like he never has had a chance to do on CNN, and they can't interrupt him and they can't cut away. He's just going to be able to have his rally and have his 2 minutes. And I think that is where Trump shines, because his humor will come through, his charismatic way will come through, because he does have charisma. Joe Biden used to have charisma. Now he's having a conniption, but I think Trump will come across better tonight than he has ever before in the eyes of the left. So we'll see what happens.
Everyone knows what Joe Biden sounds like, uninterrupted for 2 minutes, which is probably why at most of the White House pressings and all of the media coverage, nobody really Nobody really gets that agitated with it. We might turn it on and say, "Oh, look, he's again,"
Right.
right? We might
Right.
take note of that. But one thing that the media does not want is 2 minutes of uninterrupted Trump.
Yeah.
And
They
I
Right.
don't.
think that's actually another big part of the reason for the lockdown and the amount of coverage.
Well, how do you feel? Let's talk about that. How do you feel about this? I mean, I know that's kind of a stupid question, and I don't mean to make it so stupid, but how do you guys feel about this? What they're doing right now? I mean, because we've heard about this election interference for so long. You're seeing it. Are we not seeing? Is that not what we're seeing right now? Let me know what your thoughts are. Whoever wants to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, absolutely. How is it not election interference? This is literally every single person in America who is of voting age should be watching everything
Yeah.
they can about every candidate that they can to get as much information as possible. And they should watch it from all sides of the media, not just one side or the other. You should really do your own research. And if you don't have access to that, if you don't have access to see the full scope of every candidate, it's absolutely election interference.
So, what do you think this says for a company like CNN, who is supposed to be about free speech, and they're blocking this
Right.
election? I mean, how does that? How
It's
does
just
that?
showing their bias.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't really
I see.
care.
And I would go the other direction. I'm not so sure that I would buy the hook, line, and sinker, election interference. Like I get where you're going, and I agree that it's definitely an attempt to shift the optic, right? To limit information that they don't want and to really push the narratives when it works to their favor. Is it election interference though? I don't know. That's a tough call. I don't know.
Well, okay. So this is where I try. See, this is great because I get to take a breath and not get upset, or at least try not to. Let me ask you a question.
Me?
Yeah, no, Amy. No, yeah, because what you said, I vehemently disagree with you. But let me tell you why. In 2020, 69%, 67% of Americans who were polled said that if they knew about the Hunter Biden laptop and that the information was, the information was correct, that it would have somewhat or decisively changed their vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Was that not election interference?
Yeah.
No, Leroy.
Yeah.
Hold on. Just
No,
Leroy.
you're right. No,
Okay,
you're right.
So if
I agree with that.
if that was election interference and something else, especially Hunter's trial, America won't get to see that Joe Biden lied to them. And they won't hear that live. To me, that's a clear case of election interference. How what am I missing here?
No, I don't think you're missing anything. When I think of election interference, I'm looking at it as very black and white, but really the reality of politics and media coverage and how hard hitting some of these headlines are. To your point, the Hunter Biden laptop, for example, the whole thing really does exist on kind of a spectrum, and I see maybe limiting some of the amount of coverage as not as quite as severe maybe as burying the laptop story. So I get what you're saying. I guess I'm just not seeing it.
Well, let's explore it more. So let's say tonight it comes out that thank you, Nancy, for our $5 again on YouTube. That's going to come up. We're not gonna put it in there because I know it's going to come up. It's just taking a little bit of time. So let's say tonight we find out information that Joe Biden from Donald Trump releases information that Joe Biden has a chronic condition or something. Now, this isn't Matlock, but thank you. We have seen information come out before in regards to other candidates like Gary Hart got a bomb dropped on him in his debate, right? And this was huge. And my point is although we're not going to see that happen, the potential is that it could. And if it could happen, just because it hasn't happened, does that, or we don't think it's going to happen, is that okay for them to censor and not allow the American public to hear something so crucial to this election? Because anytime you sit here and classify that, like when they spy on Americans, well, I've got nothing to hide. That is the worst possible thing to say, because of course you don't have anything to hide, but that doesn't give the U.S. government the right to do things like this just because you don't have something to hide. And just because something might not come out of this magnitude doesn't mean that we should not be upset and frustrated by this. Is that wrong? Am I off base here? What the hell?
No, I think you're absolutely right on that. The any attempt to subvert information or to cover it is a problem. I mean, that tells you that they're actually afraid of, if this comes out, that it will affect the numbers. So I do get what you're saying. I guess I'm seeing it in terms of 330 different shades of gray. You know what I mean?
No,
I see what you're saying. I do. I get it.
I understand where you're coming from too. I really do. I think we need to start calling a spade a spade.
Yeah.
And I think we've done enough of pretending that this is now not serious, right? Like there were times where like, oh, come on, it's not that big of a deal, this is just the way it is. It's not that big of a, it is. It's a huge thing. And it needs to be addressed that the media is really taking advantage of their position, and it needs to stop.
Yeah.
And that's just my take on it. Olivia, Amy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. I mean, again, I think everyone is entitled to see every aspect of every person who's a candidate for president or any other office. I think we should all have access to the information. If you're over the age of 18 and you're registered to vote, or even if you're not, you should still have access to the information. It's absolutely ridiculous for them to try to withhold this.
I think they're trying to get viewers back. Them limiting that they're trying to get it so you can only watch it on CNN and not, because social media is the way to watch stuff now. And they know that, and they're trying to get their viewership back. And it's horrible that they're doing that.
Well, welcome to the 2024 Fuck You CNN presidential debate.
Can I say on something real quick? Because I know we're dropping Rumble here, or not Rumble, YouTube real quick.
Yeah.
I actually would like to ask for prayers for one of our listeners, Mary Liberty, on Wimkin. Her daughter has been missing, and she has 5 children, ages 2 to 12.
Oh, my God.
So I would love for our loyal listeners to please start a prayer chain for her to help, hopefully, her daughter.
Amy,
comes home.
you want to lead us out here?
Yes.
Please.
What is her name? Because I missed that. Sorry.
Her name is Mary Liberty.
Mary Liberty. Thank you, Brian. Real quick. I'm sorry, I'm Catholic. Catholic prayers here. Dear Lord, please help Mary find her missing daughter and bring her home safely to her family. Please give them all the resources that they need. Please bring everyone together safely and just keep everyone safe, and just please make this a speedy, happy reuniting as soon as possible. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm not really good at praying on the fly. We are.
No, you're doing you did just fine. Folks, I need to, any other final words here? I got to get this stuff put in here.
Just a real quick one. For example, what we were talking about before, let's just say, for example, and this goes to the credibility of the Don't Unfriend Me show, as well as the credibility of every major news media outlet.
John.
Thank you, John. The people like Tim Pool and all of the other podcasters that are out there. If we got a story that was in some way damaging to Donald Trump, would we run it if we were the only ones who knew about it?
It depends how much he paid me off. If he paid me Stormy Daniels, money, fuck no.
It's an interesting question, right?
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
I would
And so that-
would run it every single day and twice on Sunday.
And that's the point. When news media outlets like CNN or MSNBC, when they get those unsavory stories that put Joe Biden in a bad light, I think they bury that, which is, to Matt's point, that is it might be a very low level, but it is a form of election interference if you don't know about a certain event or crime or something along those lines. Just an example.
Real quick, I'm putting this on YouTube. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Give me my strike. Block my account. I don't care. Liv, I know you built it from scratch, but I did. And then they shut it down. YouTube was a very fast growing channel for us, and we were doing very well. And if they want to ban us, ban us. You know what? We've got Wimkin. I got Facebook. I'm not allowing them to censor us. They certainly can, but I don't give a shit. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm with you. I just gotta say something else about. I just feel like my heart is hurting for this woman right now. So I don't know if she's aware of this or not, and maybe she's already done this. But if you reach out to the National Center for Missing Exploited Children, I know she's not a child. They have so many resources to offer to also to adults, and they will get you in contact with people who are local to you that will give you a tremendous amount of resources. So just if you don't know that, just please do that, because I don't know, my heart just, gosh, I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
I want to be honest. People might go, wow, Matt's really cold. Olivia knows. Can you explain to him when it comes to kids how I get?
You don't like hearing about anything bad happening to children in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Ever.
I don't.
To a point that I have a physical reaction to it. Like, I can't. Yeah. It has to do with what I went through when I grew up. It has to do with some of the things that I did in life and the things that I saw. I can't listen. My heart absolutely goes out, and I pray that you will find your child, and that's it.
I've said this before. Matt and I share so much history that maybe he isn't even aware of. Sometimes when I hear of something like that, very similar. Like I have wanted to literally jump in the car and start, looking for people or seeing where I could help out. But I just,
it's just, I can't hear it. Quickly, go ahead.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Because this is Amy Stamcone, and she mentioned this earlier, and I totally forgot. I'm very, very sorry. Her dad just got the diagnosis. He's got about 2 weeks left to live. His organs are shutting down. And so at this point, they're just trying to keep him comfortable. So prayers for Amy as well. Amy. I know. And Amy's one of our own, and we love her. And
Amy's been through so much. I mean, God, if you've got some grace, man, it's time. A lot of people pray, and I have no problem just being honest. Give her some grace for the love of God, for the love of you. Seriously, man. I mean, we understand that you can't be here every day. We understand that you can't influence everything. We understand that your kind of hands are off the wheel right now. We get that. But there's only so much a human being can take. And she has paid her penance. And whatever trials she was supposed to go through, I may not be God, but she's done. So enough. This is why you and I need to have a conversation. This is why when I get to the gates, before I accept anything, I have some questions, because this it's too much. It's just too much, man. Enough. She's been through enough. She can't take anymore. Really
There's some people you need to throw a bone.
Yeah, this is one of them. So if you have grace and you have humility, which you're supposed to, and you need to shed a little bit to our good friend, please, folks. Debate's going to start. We're not leaving YouTube. Here's what you can do. YouTube people, you understand we may not be here anymore. And there's a very good chance they're going to give us a strike. It'll be 1 week. But then once you get that second strike, they'll find another to give you a third, and then you're done. The revenue just isn't that big on YouTube. I don't care. It's $100 a month, maybe. It's not that
It
important
was
to me.
$119 this month.
Yeah, it's not that important to me because I got 1,000 people on there. But the 1,000 people I care about. So I can't get on Rumble.
Rumble is like shut down. I can't even get the site to load. It won't load for me at all. So
Try
I don't know.
again, will
I
you?
just did like 5 seconds.
Yeah, you guys, Rumble's down there being DDoS attacked, and they're one of the people. Any site, go to Wimkin.
Rumble's down.
Let's get on here. Matt, I also have the idea that CNN wants us in the Netherlands to believe that Biden is right and Trump is wrong. Well, of course, yeah. Beeb says radio check Alpha Charlie Bravo. You are Lima Mike. You are Lima Mike. Let's get to it. Scoring system is fairly easy. How this is going to work is, I got to get rid of the banner. We don't have any room.
Got to pop because it's 100 degrees in my house right now. I swear.
Well, you guys had the power shut out for a long time last night, didn't you? So your AC probably hasn't gotten
Okay,
back up.
I love you, but I've got to do this, folks. We have phones here. Phones have colors on them. If we at the end of these cycles, we will put up a color, and when Joe Biden's talking or Donald Trump is talking, if it's Joe Biden, we'll put up, if he gets a point, a blue, and we will annotate it down here in the lower right-hand corner. Each host has a chance to vote. And if there's no color associated, which means that nobody wants to give him a point, or I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Let me clear my mind. Trump, if he talks, he gets a red from all the hosts. He gets 4 points. If he doesn't get a red and we don't like what he had to say, and we have to agree with 75% of either candidate, if we don't agree with 75%, we just don't give them a color at all. Maximum of 4 points or up to 0 points. Right now, there's supposed to be 6 different topics with several questions. Abortion will have questions about the efficacy of SCOTUS. It'll also probably have the statewide versus federal argument. So there'll be several questions. Those we will rate. And so 6 major topics, 24 points. It's probably going to be closer to 40 or 50 points by the time all said is done. And then we will go ahead and put it together and let you know what our thoughts. We're going to try to be unbiased. We are all Donald Trump supporters here, but if there are things that are said that we like, we're going to be honest and tell you how we feel. I will try not to interrupt this debate, but you must understand, if I just stream this without saying anything, they're going to hit us. So we might, at the end of the question, say something, and this might make the show a little bit longer, but bear with us. You're going to see it here first.
President Donald Trump about to hit the debate stage. It is their first face-off, as we mentioned, in 4 years, and a pivotal moment in the race for the presidency.
So we are going to watch this entire thing together, all of us here on the panel and Sean Hannity in Atlanta. And you can stay with us from the beginning to the end on Fox News Channel. Then afterwards, we'll have the post-debate analysis. And Sean will take over at 11 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be fascinating to watch this. And, you can just sort of hear their hearts palpitating probably from both sides of the stage at this point.
Both men will walk out onto the stage. They will face each other for the first time.
So it's going to be interesting to see if Donald Trump shakes Joe Biden's hand. Let's just go ahead and take some bets on this because he didn't shake Hillary's. Hillary didn't really go out, and she did try, kind of, but it was not a good thing. What are your thoughts? Does he shake Joe Biden's hand or not? Amy?
Yes.
No.
Yes,
Nice,
I think
Amy.
he will.
Your voice has gotten so deep.
Yes.
Leroy?
No, I don't think he will.
Liv?
Yes, I think he should.
I don't think he will. I'm with Leroy. If I'm a man, I don't shake Joe Biden's hand because it empowers, it gives Joe Biden efficacy. It gives him validation. Let's see what happens. Let's listen. This is going to be fun.
The right, a coin toss, determined their positions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer a question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals. An additional minute for follow-up, clarification, or response is at the moderator's discretion.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will be turned on and his opponent's microphone will be turned off. Should a candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers at home. At the end of the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing statements. There is no studio audience tonight.
I just want to say fuck you, YouTube, if you ban all of us, because it looks like everybody's broadcasting this. We don't care. We're not going to be censored. If you want the biggest class action lawsuit you've ever seen, keep fucking with Republicans. We're playing this.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Oh, he doesn't look good.
No, he does it with belly.
He does not look good.
Oh my God, he's so stiff walking up. It looks like he can't even.
Oh my God, he doesn't look good, folks.
And please welcome
He doesn't look
They
good.
should have put some bronzer on him.
Donald Trump.
Thank you.
Trump looks good.
I changed my vote. He does
You know,
not look like he's going to shake his hand.
Did you notice
You got
that
that swagger.
Biden's mic was on when he walked out, but Trump's wasn't?
It's okay.
Thanks so much
Yeah.
for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under
horrible.
President Trump?
Oh my God.
Take a look at what I was left when I became president, and what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right.
He didn't say
The
that.
economy collapsed.
It's a lie.
There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together.
I'm just going to let you know this is going to be a fucking catastrophe for Biden. I'm just letting everybody know right now this is going to be a fucking catastrophe for Biden. Donald Trump has already. It's over.
I mean,
There's
just the way he was walking.
this is fucking going to be bad. I'm just letting you know. Here it is.
The time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit.
It is their first.
No, we're fine.
Microphone will be.
I made these signs too.
Feel they
Wrong.
I love it.
All the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price of around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you, President Trump.
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Is that audio better, everybody?
Yes.
A lot of credit for the military and no wars and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, the bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you, President Biden.
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world.
Points.
And, you know,
Put your points
the
in.
fact of the matter is that we found ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant, and the military, you know, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that.
It's not true.
When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where
Fucking lying
you had
piece of shit.
a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
What?
President
What?
Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
You fist fucking me?
You son of a bitch. You have 22 a fucking day, you piece of shit. You are dude, fuck this guy. What he's done. He is fucking cooked. He is so fucking done.
I want to.
Sorry, folks.
I
I'm
want to
mad.
follow up.
I'm
if I
mad.
can. You
Am I
want
allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down, and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing. And they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs.
Trump is slaying. It's just, I've never seen him so calm and so ready. He wants to be president, folks. Biden doesn't.
Administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back.
I'm just letting everybody know Donald Trump's going to fucking win. Not this debate. He's going to be the next president of the United States. I told you this is what, did he learn from 2016? Did he learn from 2020? You have never seen this type of Trump. He is focused. He is dialed in. And if he does this for the whole 90 minutes, it's fucking over. It's over. I'm sorry.
The country was going like never before. And we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent. All of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country, and I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
Fucking
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers. They've raised $500 million, billion dollars, I should say.
Jeez, dude, you don't know what the fuck. Get him off the stage. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want.
Child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to
Stick
do
a
with,
fork at him. Stick a fucking fork at him. He is pulling a Nixon versus Kennedy.
Oh my
We
God.
finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President
What?
Trump.
We finally beat
He's
Medicare.
right. He did beat Medicare. He
Wait,
beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people. They cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not.
All right, this is the most important question of the night for Trump.
Yep.
This decides the election, okay? He does this, women come back. He fucks this up, women leave. I know you're conservatives. I told you this was going to happen. I told you that the right to life bill was something that Trump was going to push. I told you he was going to take Nikki Haley's platform. This is what he's about to do. This is where the Conservative Party needs to move to. You don't like it. I understand it. Okay? I get it. But we got to win this election. He's got to stack the courts. This is how you win it right here. This, I guarantee you, 90% of what Trump worked on is this right here. Here you go.
Yep.
Role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion pill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives. Everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was, an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a
Okay. Thoughts quickly. I'm glad that he said killing it. Okay. Because that means abortion is murder. So it's good that he said that, because that gives a little bit of some table scraps to the pro-life. Absolutely not going to move from that. He could have answered that better. It should have been this: as a president, I don't get to make singular decisions. It's up to the people of this country. And we have put this back in the people's hands. That's what he should have said. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to give him a point for it. I think he fumbled that a little bit, but it doesn't matter, because Joe Biden is doing so fucking bad. That looks like he's Shakespeare and Emerson put together, because Biden's horrible. It was a good enough answer. It was a little bit confusing.
Right. That's why.
And I think America is probably going, what does that mean?
Yeah.
He just, okay, anybody else real quick?
I mean,
I don't
Leroy,
like the fact.
Leroy, turn down your mic a little bit.
Sorry. I
Amy,
do not
go.
like the fact.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you fix your mic. It's still a little loud. Amy, go.
I agree with. I don't like his delivery either. I did like how he used the word killing it as well. I agree with 75% of what he said, so I gave him a point.
Yeah, I guess I do agree with 75. Go ahead, Leroy.
I did not like the fact that he used the word killing it. I think he should have just stuck with, hey, look, it was never a constitutional right. Therefore, we kicked it back down to the states so that the people in that state could decide. He should have wrapped it that way.
You got to pull down your
But I
phone
still
then,
gave him the
because you
point.
gave him you gave him a point. All right, Liv.
Yeah.
I gave him a point as well. I agreed with at least 75% of it.
I agree with-
I think he answered it better than he would have in 2020.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good. That's a, okay. You know what? I'll give him a point too. That's good. That's a great point, Liv. Let's listen to Biden's response.
thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they were all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states, let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women.
Let him go. Let him go.
Including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in. They talk about that, but here's the deal,
folks. It's over.
Yeah.
You guys,
It's bad.
This is the most embarrassing fucking debate I have ever seen in my life. Mike Dukakis did better. This is a man. It's not even a debate. This man cannot even put a coherent sentence together. I'm not exaggerating. This is the most unbiased fucking take I've ever had. They're going to switch him out now. This is how fucking bad this is. You heard me. I said they'll never switch out Biden. The home fucking court advantage is the most important thing for an incumbency. There's no way they're going to switch him out. Holy shit. If they don't switch him out, this is going to be this will probably be 38 to 39, possibly 40 states for Trump. That is how serious this. I'm not kidding you. I never say this. This is bad.
There's a deal. There's a lot of young women are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just
embarrassing.
ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which, frankly, they didn't. But they would have, everybody wanted it brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back, I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it.
Perfect.
Every legal scholar
Perfect.
wanted it that way.
Yep.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on
Right,
how
let's
late a
listen.
woman should be able to
Listen.
terminate a pregnancy?
I support Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor.
Did he just say 3 trimesters?
Yes.
Did he just fucking say on national fucking TV that he supports abortion for 3 trimesters?
Yes. That's what I heard.
Holy fuck! That's it. Donald Trump's gonna raise fucking $500 million off that fucking line right there. He just cooked himself. 3 trimesters? If Trump doesn't hit him, you're telling me heartbeat, brain development, hands, toes, eyes, all of it. You're talking about a premature baby survives in the 3rd trimester. You're saying a person can fucking kill an infant, an unborn child. He just fucking said 3rd trimester. Am I wrong?
I heard that. I heard it
too.
Mm-hmm.
He's done.
Said it.
He's fucking done. It's so over. That is gonna. Liberals won't even agree with that. 71.
New York.
No, 71% of Democrats. 71% of Democrats do not believe up to 3rd trimester abortions. They believe on limitations. They do not believe that. He's cooked.
The 3rd time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians.
Trump better hit him.
to be the
He
ones
better hit
making
him on
decisions
this.
about women's health is ridiculous.
Look at him.
That's the
Trump's
last-
waiting.
no
He's got it.
politician
He's
making
got
those
it.
decisions. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to
Hit him.
restore Roe v. Wade.
Hit him. Hit him.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month.
Good.
And even after birth. Because
Perfect.
some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the governor,
Whoa.
former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to
Perfect.
happen.
Perfect. Fucking
That is
crush him.
simply not true.
Yes, what you
The
said,
Roe
you
v. Wade does not
fucking idiot.
provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion.
You just
period.
said you were.
Period.
You just said
Under Roe
3rd
v. Wade,
trimester.
You have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals.
That is the
not
first time.
Republicans.
That is the
51
okay.
years, that was the law.
I'm sorry. I'm fucking fired up. That is the first time Donald Trump has ever said the words "we." He has never described the Republican Party, the GOP, as "we." It's always been "I." It's always been "I." Donald Trump, this guy is fucking in fuego. In fuego right now. Whatever he's doing,
Thanks, Craig.
whatever advice he got, he's fucking killing it. Killing it. This is the best debate format ever because Donald Trump can't get in his own way. But he also can't get in his own way. I got to play this. I'm sorry.
To the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security.
Just
President
move on,
Biden,
Donald. You
a
already
record
won.
Number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where You had no circumstance where
Watch.
they could come across
Watch
the
what
border
Trump's gonna do.
with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers, significantly increased the number of asylum officers, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition
No,
to
they
that,
didn't.
we found
That's
ourselves
a
in a
lie.
situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages.
Trump's going to fucking kill him. Those were your cages. Oh, Trump's going to kill him. Trump's going to kill him.
What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to.
Okay, quickly. Trump needs to bring up that 16% of the funding went to the United States. The rest of it went to foreign countries, securing 17 other countries' borders. He also needs to go ahead and say, well, why did you wait 3.5 years when you said you didn't have the executive orders for 3.5 years to go ahead and stop the border? Then all of a sudden you pushed it through with executive order. Why did you go ahead and reinstitute all of my executive orders that I put, except for remain in Mexico, which you said was xenophobic? Right. So Joe Biden, are you trying to say that you're now xenophobic, or are you just saying that my policies are better? Which one? God, fucking crush him.
That's the hypocrisy at work. We just need to hear that come out of Trump's mouth.
Trump's killing it right now, dude.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence.
Yes.
I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in caravans.
President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration, killed three American soldiers, killed 3 American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally
Look at him.
An uncivilized.
Every single, listen.
He's got hatred in his
Guys,
eyes right now.
No,
Yeah, he does.
he's completely doesn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
This, guys, they put him through a week of this. Biden has reached the pinnacle of his fucking, this is, guys, there's something wrong. Like,
Yeah. Let him
there's something
retire.
fucking, like, we're talking I don't want to say it because I don't want to see it, but like stroke imminent, like something bad. I'm not exaggerating, folks. He looks bad.
You can only
Like-
pump so much caffeine and
Right.
Red Bull into somebody who is that age before everything just fails.
It's bad. It's bad, folks. This is not good. Look at Biden. He's so.
Confused.
Hold on a
Lost.
second. Continue without Rumble. Okay, that's fine. Rumble's getting DDoS attacked. It's probably better. Let's keep playing.
Literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, or we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved, choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in.
President
And it's
Biden.
a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And he opposed, his group opposed
already
that.
covered.
We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump.
Good.
Now we're
He
name
got him.
First of
calling.
all, that was a
Hold
made-up
on,
quote,
hold on.
suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it.
Turn on your brightness,
Period.
Liv.
That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history.
Bullshit.
American history. And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our
Listen, I'm giving a point to Biden because he actually has done a shit ton for veterans. When it comes to passing legislation, it doesn't mean that he's not lying right now, because he is. But when you come to the PACT Act, there are 4 other pieces of legislation that he has passed. He has extended Trump's policies. I'm not giving him a point, actually. Fuck it, because he can't say that. But that's what he should say, but he can't. Instead, he has to lie about the suckers and losers bullshit, which has been disproven a million times. And it just takes away anything. He's losing control. This is exactly what they wanted, was to show his temper. He has hatred. Donald Trump's smiling. He's not being condescending. Biden's getting his ass kicked.
I will say this too: for all of the hot button things that Biden is throwing out there, all of the suckers and the losers comments, all of this it's already been disproven. If you do any sort of research on your own, it's already out there. He's just reiterating the lie.
That's right. Okay. Let's keep going.
War against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war.
Sorry
if
that
Russia
we're 8
keeps
minutes
the
behind. We're
Ukrainian
trying,
territory
folks.
It has already claimed, and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine, never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything, no money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration.
He's nailing it.
CNN, you wanted this. You got Donald Trump. You got him raw, and now you're showing America. Everyone sees that you guys are full of shit. He's a threat to democracy. He's the only one talking about fucking the republic. He's the only one who's talking about individual rights. He's the only one who's talking about any of this. And he's right. Iran was crippled. They were on the verge of freaking revolution when Trump was there. He was dropping off iPhones by the fucking crates to educate the people of Iran. This is a joke. This is what this is the worst ever.
I expect to see in the next 2-3 days that 538 polling is going to show at least a 1.5% bump, if not more.
Oh no, this is going to be a 6 or 7 point bump.
We got a good comment on Wimkin.
Go ahead.
Tomorrow's headlines will be that Biden was feeling under the weather and now he'll be taking a few days off to get better. Kamala will step in to see how she polls.
I don't think Kamala's going to step in to see how she polls, but they're going to float Newsom. I agree with your Wimkin viewer. She's going to have to do damage control, but they don't like her. She got 1% in California. She is the least popular vice president ever. She's too progressive. Nobody will want her, but they are going to float Newsom. And this is their backup plan. It's always been Newsom, folks. It's not Michelle Obama. It's not fucking Oprah. It's not The Rock. It's Gavin Newsom. He was No, it's not too late. He's going to lose it's not. No, it's not. Because he's not going to be there to win. That's not what he's going to be there for down ticket. That's the only reason they want Gavin Newsom to step in, because this is going to oppress the vote. People will not show up for Biden. If Gavin Newsom comes in, it still possibly gives them down ticket voting, and it possibly can save the House and the Senate. They have given up the presidency. Leroy, tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know that you're wrong. What I'm saying is that there's several states that have to arrange for their ballots to be printed. And if they go and swap things out now, I think it's too late to get anybody else's name on there.
And not if it's a 25th Amendment or not if it's a medical emergency. If he steps down, they absolutely will go ahead and say fill in for Biden for Newsom. It happens in local elections. It's allowed. They will have to take it to the state's courts. It'll have to be a judge proceeding to approve that, not state legislator. this is where COVID in 2020 was abused. This actually would be where the judges would step in and amend the actual vote for Biden to be a Newsom vote. Something has to happen here. This is terrifying. America is seeing what we have seen for the last 3.5 years for the first time. They are waking up right now. Most people don't get engaged until the 3-month mark. These debates are actually about a month and a half early. This is a lot of time for people to have eyeballs on Joe Biden, and it's not going to get any better for him. I'm just letting you know. Okay? All right.
This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it recently, not when he was president.
He killed
They
Soleimani.
attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did.
What?
To Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute. I just want to go back to my
Just
original
move on.
question,
Everyone knows.
which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the
No, they're
territory
not
in Ukraine?
acceptable. No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
President Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire.
I'm making sure everyone was read on that, right?
Yes.
Biden just Donald Trump just committed. And you know what? His rebuttal should be, I notice how you didn't go ahead and commit that you're going to end it, Biden, because you're content with letting this go and continue. So you guys have your cash cow in Ukraine and you can justify your bloated expense budget. This is ridiculous. You guys say you want to cut defense. You want to cut our overall spending in military. You guys are giving $200 billion. You guys have literally given in the last 2 years 10% of our defense budget to Ukraine.
Listen
to
what he's saying right here.
10% of your defense budget has went to Ukraine. I thought you guys wanted to cut the defense budget. Go ahead, Leroy.
Right now, he is laying out Putin's plan, right? He's making the case that this is what Putin wants. This is how he's doing it. This is why he's doing it. And while he's explaining all of that, what he's not saying is he had the power to stop it. I knew this. I'm telling you, the American people, this was Putin's plan, and I did nothing.
Yep. Perfect.
He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries?
Belarus.
And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do.
Belarus?
I think that was actually in the news.
Yeah, but he's going to jump. I don't care if it's in the news. How many countries are you going to jump to get to Belarus?
Yeah.
I mean, why doesn't he just go ahead and say he's going to go and take Sweden? What are you going to do about Finland and Norway, right? What I'm saying, it's like, talk about putting the cart before the horse, for God's sakes. I mean, this is his strategic plan. This is the president of the United States, right? This is the guy who handled Afghanistan, but he's all of a sudden going to go ahead and give us logistical information as far as war strategy from Russia and what their intentions are. Give me a break. We're a little behind. We're trying to catch up.
By the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through to the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward, which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas. Number one, they're the only ones standing out.
What?
We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened in Israel? We're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them.
Versus a 1,500-pound GBU? Give me a fucking break.
The world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel.
What? You saved Israel?
And so they're 2 different things.
Look at Trump. Look at Trump.
Yeah.
Trump's just like, dude.
The
he's
plan
like,
was so
You're hanging
descriptive.
yourself.
Dude, first of all, they already offered him a ceasefire to return the American citizens, and Hamas turned it down. So your number one plan has already been turned down multiple times. So this whole fucking thing is ridiculous. Folks, we're going to catch up real quick before Trump gets in. I just want to say, you see there's a link right down below, linktapgo.com/thedumshow. We are 100% funded by you. We don't try to do commercials and sell you a bunch of shit you don't need. We've got shirts and coffee and all that at thedumbshow.com. But really where it comes down to is Facebook took 90% of our revenue. Thank God YouTube has not canceled us tonight. Either is YouTube. Facebook and YouTube are leaving us on. Rumble is getting DDoS attacked, but we're on Wimkin. Anything you can do. You've taken care of your family, your friends, your loved ones. You have your vacation taken care of. You made sure your mortgage is good. If you got a little bit of extra and you're sitting on a little bit extra money and you say, hey, I don't want to go to Starbucks 7 times this week, maybe you can help out the Dumb Show. We provide you this coverage and we will give it all the way up to the election and after. We've been doing this for 4 years. We're really good at it. Stop by linktapgo.com/thedumbshow. You can click donate or tip and go ahead. And if you can help us out, we would appreciate it. Thank you for that. Amy, go ahead.
We are down on Spreely.
What the hell?
And I just have a quick
We're down
question.
on Spreely.
Why are we down on
I
Spreely?
don't know what load.
I'm having my computer keeps glitching too. I don't know if it's just overload right now
Let me check.
on everyone.
I can't get it to load.
But I'll
Says
ask my
currently
question
no
while
live
I look.
stream available.
Liv, hold on.
I'm looking. Spreely.
Find out what's going on here.
There we go. Let me see.
There we go. What does that mean?
Oh, I'm just getting into the site.
Okay.
Live.
Channel 1, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's where we were.
It's dead. There's nothing in there.
It's nothing.
I've
Yeah.
got- I've got people on. Hold on. It's scheduled till 11. I'm going to keep pumping it. How are we on Wimkin?
Wimkin's up and running. Twitter's good.
Okay.
YouTube and
I'm
Facebook
sorry,
are
Spreely
good.
folks, but Wimkin's up, and let's keep going. Okay, we got to watch this.
Can I
It'll
ask
fix.
a really quick question?
Yeah,
about
go.
Biden had a notepad. I thought they were not allowed to have notes.
Notepads
No,
are
they could
fine.
have
Just
notepads.
no notes on it. That's it.
Right.
Oh, so he just
Okay.
has a notepad. he's
Spreely
flipping
is
over?
having. Yeah, he's got no. Spreely is having some problems. Yes, he can have a notepad. He can write notes. He can't have anything on it. Spreely's having problems, folks. They're getting DDoS attacked too. Everyone's getting DDoS attacked. The only people who are up right now is Wimkin, folks. Go to Wimkin and sign up. They are fighting this, and they're still up. You're still on Facebook. We're still on YouTube. We're still on Twitter. You guys might have to come over to the platforms you don't like. I'm sorry, but they're the only ones who can prevent these DDoS. But Wimkin's still up, and I guarantee they're getting hit. That's why Jace hasn't said anything.
Not allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did.
Jared, fuck off. We're doing the best we can, you prick.
I missed what he said.
I did too.
We're doing the best we fucking can, okay? It's a little hectic over here. So go fuck yourself.
As to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas, greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for what using certain weapons
What a dick.
among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent $100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said,
I can't save Rumble. Rumble's done. Rumble disconnected from the DDoS attacks. Crowder is up. They're going to save Crowder's feed. I can't reinstitute Rumble, y'all. So doing the best we can. As far as Jared, you're a friend of this show, but dude, now's not the fucking time. We're under a lot of stress. Our channels are under constant threat and bombardment by people who are trying to shut us down. I don't need you to tell me to play the debate. We are only about 9 minutes behind, and we got a commercial coming. So please try to show a little fucking respect. You know, just a little bit. We're busting our butt here for you.
the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any, they were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money.
I know you're kidding, okay? But yeah, Jared, I didn't see the joke until after. It's not funny, okay? We're doing our best, brother. I apologize for jumping your shit. You're a friend of the show. We love you. You know that. But come on, man. Now's not the time. I'm not going to go to you when you're, you know, you got 3 balls and 2 strikes in the World Series and all of a sudden go, excuse me, can I go ahead and weigh your bat? Okay? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't do that. He's getting all, you got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. You're going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have, our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine.
Get him,
and
Trump.
then move on to Poland and other places. See what happens then.
You allowed
have
it.
No idea what the hell he's talking about. And by
You
the way,
allowed that
50
to
other
happen.
nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea.
I can't even keep
because
score
they
anymore. It's so
understand
bad.
That this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations. Because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, no, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia, at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time. And they said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After you rallied your supporters that day, some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected.
Thanks, Kevin.
And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
Thanks, Laura.
I have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And
Yes,
Nancy
he did.
Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say. But she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers.
Look at Biden. Just fucking look at him, dude. No, he's completely zoned out.
Yep.
Yeah. He knows he's going to lose. He knows he's going to lose.
And she turned him down. And the mayor in writing, by the way, the mayor in writing turned it down, the mayor of D.C., they turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see, I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her. And she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Answer that.
He encouraged those folks to go up on Capitol Hill.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
I sat in the dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours.
You sat in the dining room of the Oval Office? You weren't in the
being
Oval Office
begged
at that
by
time.
his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. They've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. But he went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases.
See, here's the thing, folks, is even if Biden is telling the truth, which he's not, nobody's going to believe him because he's not selling it. It sounds like he doesn't believe it himself. So even if he just happens to fucking land on a nuke and be able to hit Trump, people are going to be like, well, I don't believe him because he doesn't sound like he's sure.
It's his delivery.
He doesn't remember. Okay. He doesn't remember where he was on January 6th.
No, he doesn't.
You weren't in the Oval Office. You weren't in the White House.
Yeah.
You hadn't been sworn in as president yet. It was still Trump's White House.
That's right.
You don't remember where you are. So how the hell do you remember what happened?
Yeah, this is over. Look at Trump. Trump just knows. Trump's like, this is fucking a layup.
Yeah.
Including the Supreme Court. And they said, no, this guy this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones that are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that there could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
And say that about
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people when they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities. You go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing, the Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now, out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right
Good.
now.
Get it. Wait. Here it is. No, that's perfect. That's fucking great. Good. Get it out there. Now you got to say, listen, you're right. You've weaponized the DOJ, but at least I'm able to stand trial because you, on the other hand, what happened to your documents that you're talking about? What happened to all that money from China? Why do you have 262 different fucking bank accounts? Why do you have 26 different mortgages on your house? Please explain to me these things, but you can't because you're not able to stand trial because you're unfit to serve and you're also unfit to do one of the most basic things in the world, even jury duty. You would be thrown off in a heartbeat. So unfortunately, you go ahead and keep doing what you're doing. You can't win this fair and square. We all know that, and you're showing America that now. Just fucking hammer him. Close the door right here. Oh, fired up.
What he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted deserves to be convicted.
He told everyone to go home.
The idea that they didn't kill somebody just went in and broke down doors, broke the windows, occupied offices, turned over desks.
Well, at least you said that they didn't kill anybody on J6. At least you finally admitted that.
Right.
Idea that those people are patriots? Come on. When I asked him the first two debates we had, first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boys? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing, will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol? What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with the son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump.
It's
President
fine.
Biden,
He should have hit him on
said, I'm coming right to
the
you.
her.
You want to respond?
It's still fine. He should have hit him. Listen, he should have hit him on the Herb report. But listen, you got to give him points. But the whole point is how much. listen, if he starts getting in the mud, he doesn't need to. He got Hunter in there. He should have hit him on the Her report. Whatever. I don't think it's done. I think Trump is right now. This thing is almost half over, and he's just literally he's hitting him with his purple-headed yogurt slinger. He's just got dickhead freaking like blue marks all over his face.
Yeah. What I probably would have retorted back with was, look, they convicted me, and then list how they changed the rules in order to get to that point.
Yeah.
They convicted me on something that was well past the statute of limitations. They convicted me on basically writing a bad check when this guy had the stolen documents in his garage. Make that comparison. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think he needs to. That's the point. Is that I think turning it back on him is right. At least, hey, let me ask you a question. If you can't stand trial, how are you going to run the country? That's the answer that I would make. But it is what it is. Last thing I'm going to say, I want to give credit to the debate moderators. They're doing an excellent job. I'm sorry. I told you Jake Tapper was going to be tough on both. He has been. He's been very fair. CNN is running a very good debate right now. I got to give them hats off and accolades where they deserve it. They are hitting both candidates, and they're also giving them time. They have not interrupted. They have not fact-checked. So far, this is probably one of the best debates that I've seen, and I got to give it to them. Anybody else?
I agree. I think it's good so far. Let's hope it stays that way.
Let's hope. We're a little bit behind. We're sorry, but we had to do some maintenance.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong.
That's not what he said.
It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam, and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President
Holy
Biden,
shit.
you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done.
It's been nonstop.
He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got a.
This is the only time they've actually heard from Trump. They've heard everything you're saying. They've heard from you for 4 years. They've heard it from the media for 4 years. They've heard it from celebrities. They're now finally hearing Trump. And if they didn't hear from him and they still didn't work, what do you think's going to happen tonight when you can't even make a simple fucking point? They're going to love him even more. He goes up 6-8, put the fucking fork in it. It's done. Because here's the truth. Out of the 80 million people that tuned in, 40 million already went to bed. They only watch for the first 32 minutes and then they turn it off. You already lost this fucking thing. It's over.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it's reported tomorrow for sure.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I don't know what
that's the point.
Do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that Could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any presidents say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved around
That's
the
not
first
what he
place after
said.
my son had died, I decided in Iraq, because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when
Doesn't work,
back in
dude.
Germany.
It doesn't work,
and
dude.
And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? The ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones," he said, "I think they're fine people on both sides."
That's not what he said.
What?
Ah.
President.
It's a fucking lie. I've already disproven that.
Nazis coming out of fields, carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas. We're fine people. And this is a guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things.
Olivia Beebs has asked for you to cuss because he said, I've never heard Matt cuss so much in my life. You just never watched one of these debates before or the State of the Union. Liv, he wants you to cuss. Can you say something, please?
Oh, shucks, Beebs. I don't know if I can.
That's good.
I think Trump needs to ask Biden.
Hold on.
Fiddlesticks. Trump needs to ask Biden what the girl's name who was murdered.
Yeah.
Ask him if he remembers that since he spoke with the mother.
There you go. Perfect. Good one, Liv. That's better than cussing.
Point.
Good girl.
This is a guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on this. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency, he's without question the worst president, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place.
It is.
Every anchor every reasonable anchor has debunked it.
We debunked it.
The other day
tells
it
me that
came
was
out where it was fully
dig at Tapper.
debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden.
And debunked. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time.
No.
And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran.
Who's he talking to
I
now?
ran because I was worried
Hold
a guy
on.
like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated.
People
we
don't
saw
care.
With our own eyes. We
People
saw it
don't
happen in
care.
January.
They want their
We saw the
grocery
people
prices
breaking through
down.
Windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of
Vice
his
President
44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN presidential debate.
I'm gonna go forward. I know we
care.
I gotta
The go-to for politics.
get back to where we were. Sorry, folks.
Again in a second term. President Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans.
I want to make sure I understand. Not one host has given Biden a point because of why.
Because pretty much 99% of what he said is not true. And he's just slinging insults and he's not making any sense. Half the time, I don't have a clue what he's saying because he's mumbling so much and he's adding words into his sentences that don't even belong there. He looks out of sorts. He looks like he doesn't want to be there. And he looks extremely confused.
Okay, Amy?
I agree with everything Olivia said. He has not said one coherent sentence the entire time at all. I don't even think he got hello out or anything. He's also lying constantly. And it's almost sad in a way. Trump, I feel like, is defending himself way more than he even needs to at this point. It's like just let him. He's just a liar, and that's all that's coming across. In my opinion.
I think that will epitomize the debate and truly just put the cherry on top. If Trump just says, listen, at this point in 2020, Biden was sitting here and saying that I was a liar and all these other things. At this point, I don't have time. You guys aren't going to cover me. You never do. You always turn me off. I've got 45 minutes left to talk to the American people. So at this point, no matter what he says, I have no response. Just ask me your questions. And so I can save my time so I can get in contact with the American people because they need to know the truth. They're hearing it tonight for the first time. And I got 45 minutes to make this impact because they're not going to hear from me again. So, let's just stop that. He's right there. He's doing really well. Like, it's ridiculous. The whole thing was, as long as Joe Biden doesn't keel over and die, no, this is the result. Leroy, your reasons for not giving Biden any points?
So he is not, the personal attacks set aside, the lies set aside, he hasn't addressed any of his policies that have actually helped anyone. And you can say which I believe in my heart that all politicians lie. Trump has lied in the past. Every one of them has, right? My problem is that at least when under the Trump administration, most of his policies had wins that he has been able to address here. Biden, that is still a big old fat fucking zero. Yeah. And there's no getting around that.
Fair enough. All right, everybody, here we go. Let's go ahead. We're past the first half. Oof.
Who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're trying to provide housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those child care protections.
Was there some subsidy that we gave taxpayers a break on freaking on daycare? Because
apparently only if you're black.
Oh,
that's right.
And only if you're black, yeah.
That's the point, which is completely unconstitutional, completely racist, and there's no fucking way that every single court in the country would turn that down. I'm going to fact check that. I think it's bullshit. You can't. No, that's like saying that only Hispanic women can apply for WIC. No, there's no way. That's a bullshit.
And maybe I'm just seeing it more around here because just locally, I do feel like there are more black-owned businesses, though. In the last couple of years, it just seems maybe they're just talked about more. I don't know, but I notice them more now. Maybe because they're advertising it as that. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, we need to look at that, right? So I can't give him a point on that because everything else he's lied about tonight. I don't know what to say because here's the thing is we have to believe all women. We have to believe all black people because they are not flocking to him. And if this was true, they would be supporting him and they're fleeing from him. Right.
Yeah. Poll numbers show the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fair housing laws. He totally lied about that. Like they are so strict on the fair housing laws. You can't discriminate against anybody for anything.
Yeah.
So he is full of crap.
That's true. That's true. All right. We're going to keep playing. Sorry, folks. We're trying.
There's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black family, first-time home buyer, should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals who had to take out student loans that were ballooning, that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, and anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years on their student debt, all the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more.
It's unconstitutional, by the way.
What? Only if you're
Thank you,
black?
President Trump.
Right. That is
And
so
he caused the
racist.
inflation.
Yes.
He's blaming inflation, and he's right. It's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now.
He's doing
And it
so
could be
good bringing it back to
it
things
could
that
be
are
19
important.
and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs and they're taking Hispanic jobs. And you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
That was a
There
really
was no
solid
inflation when I became president. You know why?
What?
The economy
We
was
know!
flat on its back. 15% unemployment. He decimated the economy, absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation at the time. There were no jobs. We provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals.
Thousands
who were
of
in rural
millions?
communities,
That
including
equals
minority
billions.
communities. We made sure that
Folks,
they
I just want to let you know that everywhere I come from, 1,000 million means a billion. So Joe Biden just said that he created over 1 billion jobs. I just want to let you know, folks, we should be really happy. If you don't have a job, the good news is you can now get 26 of them and we still won't make a dent.
Right.
We
only
made sure that
330
they have health
Americans.
insurance. We have covered.
I'm waiting for him to
the ACA
cuss.
has increased. I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for health care.
tax cuts?
But this guy wants to
Oh,
eliminate
no.
that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again, and they're going to try again if they win. You find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing any, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people
Equity?
are not shot to make it. There's a lot going on.
How
But in
very communist
inflation,
of you.
he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is
say?
the climate crisis. 2023
This is great. Like
What did he say?
I don't have a t-shirt long enough to fucking capture this. Does anyone have like Princess Di's gown? Because that's what I'm going to need to make this t-shirt. It's this, like, I couldn't have written this any fucking better than what we're getting. This is this is the Chicago Fire of presidencies. It's fantastic.
Just make it like a concert tee with all the, all the cities in the back.
I need the
Just-
interpreter. I need the interpreter from the movie The Ringer to understand what the hell he just said, because I have no idea.
Yeah.
My feasance.
I like
struggling.
2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat,
Hit energy costs,
intensifying
Trump.
wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels.
Trump needs to hit him on the deforestation of doing controlled burns in California. That's how he's creating a lot of these problems. He needs to talk about the investment in overseas and the Paris Climate Accords, which Donald Trump got us out of, putting money back in home. There are so many things that he talked about. Deregulation ultimately kills the economy and makes business cut corners. Or regulation makes businesses cut corners. These are the things that he needs to talk about. We'll see if he does it.
End your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that.
Perfect.
Super predators was
You
in
did.
1994.
How are
And he
those
called it
Klan
to-
members
and
there,
they've taken
Clucky?
great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job, great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts
He's
ever
giving
in the
credit
country.
to Republicans. Holy
zones.
shit.
And
Yeah,
the biggest
me too, Liv.
beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see these millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
He needs to bring up college debt.
He will. Do you want to know how I know Donald Trump is kicking the living shit out of Joe Biden? There's no trolls. There's not one troll. We've got 500 some odd people watching, 286 on conventional social media. Wimkin, do I even know where we're at on Wimkin? I mean, we got to be up in the thousands by now.
18,000.
18,000 people have watched on Wimkin. So, folks, there's not one liberal. They're all, you know what they're doing? They're eating they're putting patchouli on, they're refitting their Birkenstocks, and they're crying. They're crying. This is going to be the biggest, oh my God, this is horrible. I mean, this October surprise better be that Donald Trump killed Kennedy or something, because otherwise you're looking at the next president of the United States.
Seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he said is true. I've passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history.
Yeah, but that doesn't solve the
We
problem.
find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges, I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic black.
Having Trump speak last is genius, because it just looks like Biden's constantly on the defense.
$15 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and the like. Any black student is capable in college of doing what any white student can do. They just don't have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs.
Did he just say that black kids are just as bright as white kids again? Is that what he did, Liv?
No.
I think did he
Is
say
that
they don't
what
have computers?
He said students now instead of kids. He said students.
Okay. I'm so
He said students. Are you sure he didn't say kids? I just want to make sure.
He said students.
Because it sounded like
all his white kids.
I think that's what he just said. I don't know. Maybe
The
I'm wrong.
idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest water. He hadn't done a damn thing with the environment. He pulled out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5,
He just tried to say the Paris
water.
He just said right.
He said the Paris Peace Accord.
He just tried to say
Right.
Paris Peace Corps, and like Leroy said, who gives a fuck about Paris's water? We don't care. I mean, we call it Penod. It's basically shit water. We love it. We serve it to Americans. Who gives a flying fuck?
They got us involved with,
the only
with
existential
French
threat to
water because I
humanity
love
is
Perrier.
climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. He wants to undo all that I've done.
Of course he wants to do all
Paris
you've done, because
Accord
you've
was gonna
done jack
cost us
shit.
$1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors.
True.
I took care of the seniors.
True.
What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to? The United States can't get its pollution under control. One of the largest polluters in the world, number one.
We're the largest CO2 provider, but when you want to look at plastic straws and you want to look at overall radioactive elements, or you want to talk about chemicals on the ban list, it's China, it's South America, it's Rio de Janeiro,
India.
China, India. Aren't they 1 and 2? Yeah.
The United States contributes to less than 3% of the overall garbage and plastics in the fucking ocean. Give me a break. CO2 is because literally 33 people out of 100 own a vehicle in the United States, and in the rest of the world, it's like 2.6 people because of their transit systems. They've got better transportation than us. Make that case. But don't sit here and tell me that the United States is the biggest polluter in the world, maybe to CO2. And by the way, if you don't know this, you jackass, pompous son of a fucking dick, we have more plants and more trees on planet Earth than ever before in world fucking history. Give me a break. That we have planted more. So if you're going to sit here and say, wait a second, CO2, plants are thriving. They're bigger than ever before. They're growing faster than ever before because there's more CO2 in the air. So yes, there are drawbacks to humans, but we are so far away. We're over 2.1% from an overall CO2 level before we are all dead. And it has only gone up by a 0.2% over the last 120 fucking years. I think we're going to be okay. Yes, we need to do something about CO2 emissions. We're trying, but it's not literally raping the earth from all of the mineral sources and completely destroying our energy production because we can't even turn on fucking air conditioners. But you want 33% of all vehicles in the next 10 years to be EV vehicles? Give me a break.
Which is actually more damaging to the environment, by the way.
Put me on that stage, coach. I'm ready to go in. Trump's doing a great job. He doesn't need to say any of that. It's just me because I'm frustrated.
Significant progress. By 2035, we will have cut pollution in half.
The U.S. has more CO2 emissions than China. And yes, there's more cars, but there's also fucking how many billions of people. So, but when you look at the math, more people own vehicles in the United States than any other country. And you have to give per capita the same populations, or at least 30 million people, right? You guys say, well, Prague, give me a break. When you look at it, the United States pollutes a shit ton with CO2 emissions. Like I said, I think it's 33 out of 100 own a vehicle in the United States. That's light years above anyone else in the world.
We have made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps for thousands of young people who learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate.
He didn't say
I've
that.
not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily.
Yeah, and that one company produces like 86% of the fucking insulin in the United States. Dude, old man, sit the fuck down and shut up and watch Matlock.
I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company cannot
I don't have any.
You. And by the way,
so every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
Yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
Give me a
Oh my God, they already
everybody
do.
making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get a paycheck from the time the first one they get when they're 18 years old. What? The idea that they're going to, I'm proposing that everybody, they pay, the millionaires pay 1%. 1%. So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
That's not true.
Go ahead,
covered
Leroy.
this. We covered this before on the show. I was trying to get Professor Anthony Davis, the economist, to come onto the show because he had already busted that myth specifically. The very wealthy or the very rich pay more into Social Security by the tune of something like between 4 to 8 times more than anyone who makes less than like $50,000 or $60,000 a year.
Right.
And they put so much into the system that they never get back out. Where does that money go then? Well, as it turns out, it goes to the people who make less than $60,000. So the very wealthy, to ask them to pay their share, their fair share, when they're putting more into the system than they will ever get out, instead of the people who make less than $60,000 who get well more out of the system than they ever put into it. So that's a lie, you sack of shit.
Here's the other thing, and Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. It is literally an interest-free loan to the United States. It is 60 years in arrears, and all of you people are like, well, I paid into it. Listen, folks, it is paid by you. That's what you don't understand. You get double hit on it. Here's why, is because they sell bonds against the debt on Social Security. So every time we do a deficit spend, every time we go ahead and not balance the budget and we approve and keep going ahead and funding the government and kicking the can down the road, that money gets purchased in bonds to go ahead and fund Social Security. Your money does nothing. You have nothing there. It's all a lie. Our entire fucking financial system is a lie. There is no money. There is no more gold. Petrodollar is going away. Saudi Arabia is pulling it out. Folks, our entire monetary system is based upon a fabrication, and so is Social Security. I hate to say it to you. You are paying into a fucking a timeshare.
So sad we have to pay into.
You're never going to use it. You're paying an ungodly amount of money for somebody else's mortgage, and that is just the truth. I hate to say it to you. For all of you people who think I have a nest egg, you don't. And whenever they decide to go ahead and pull the switch on this and bankrupt it and actually tell you that it's bankrupt, they're not going to care. What they need to do right now is stop Social Security, and they need to find an age. Anybody born before 1995 will no longer pay into Social Security. We will give them a refund check. We are going to go ahead and put it into different plans. We have multiple plans that we can do, from healthcare plans to putting into a secured loan, a zero coupon, a zero interest account, whatever it is. You can invest however you want, or you can invest in bonds of the United States government. We can go back to World War II. Whatever the fuck it is, you know how to handle your money better than we do. But we need to cut off Social Security. We need to stop. The government is not responsible for your financial freedom. That is you, and it's the United States, and you know how to handle your money better than we do. If they don't do that, they are going to cut off millions of Americans when they realize that this is a failed system. You can't save Social Security. You need to change the way you do it. Period.
Back in the late 90s, I need to throw this out there. Back in the late 90s, Joe Biden was standing in front of Congress, Senate, whatever, and was trying to make the argument that they should raise the age for the people who could collect Social Security. He wanted it extended out like 6 months every year, so that at first it wasn't 66, it was 66 and a half, then it was 67, then 67 and a half. He was trying to make that argument. On top of that, it was the Democrat Party who decided at one point in time to start taxing Social Security. Fuck you, Joe.
Yeah, Joe's full of shit. All right,
So
we need to let this
82
play.
seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent. But the biggest thing I'll do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare both times.
Bullshit.
And that's what. And if you look at
He didn't do it in 2016. Why would he do it now?
The House Republican caucus that he, I believe, supports is in fact want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the ACA, as I said, you're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only thing that allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they, in fact, are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is,
not what he
we're in
said.
a situation where we talk about education for Black
Trump said
communities. I've
explicitly
raised
that pre-existing
the
conditions would never go
the
away.
amount of money for Pell Grants by another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year is going to be able to get $15,000 toward their tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life, I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He could look you in the face about so many other things, too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, 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 Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. Yep. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden?
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. And by the way, when I said suckers and losers, he acknowledged after that he fired that general.
Yeah.
That general got fired.
Yes.
Because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it. Number one. Number two.
He provided an oath to the Constitution of the United States. Thank you very much.
Where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country.
Illegal aliens
taking away our jobs. There's a reason why
it's the only
we
honest
have
thing
the
he said
fastest
tonight.
growing economy in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession. And inflation is going to increase.
Yeah, right.
And by the way,
that happened in 2016.
159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put them there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that the Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country.
Trump doesn't need to answer the child care question, Roxanne, because it's not even on the frickin' map of concerns for the U.S. citizens. No. It's inflation. It's the economy. It's the border. It's the wars. Those are the things that people want to address. And abortion. And you notice how CNN isn't even touching abortion because he already put it to bed. Go ahead, Ames.
Also, we don't want the government to regulate our child care.
That's it. We don't care. Nobody cares. He knows what to talk about. He's not going to. He's going to keep hitting him on the things he needs to hit him. Biden is. He lost in the first 5 seconds of this. This was a Mike Tyson knockout. It's over. That you don't recover from this. And Donald Trump should, the next time he wants to say, you know what? No, we've already addressed it. We're going to run on the. We're done. Don't debate him again. You crushed him. It's over.
That ad that Biden ran when he first decided to throw this out there. He wants to debate me again. And this is the results of it. And I just keep thinking to myself, you asked for this, you idiot.
Yeah, there's nothing going to save your presidency, dude. You're done.
No.
Sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America.
Give me a
There's
break,
nothing
dude.
beyond our capacity. We have the finest military in the history of the world, the finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with.
Hey, I just want to go ahead and
just
say
think
thanks
you're
to
weak.
I just want to say thanks to Wimkin, 21,000 views. It's wonderful to have a social media network that actually promotes and cares about us, that actually doesn't censor free speech, that wants the truth to be heard here. Folks, we're trying. We're trying to give Biden something. He can't make an argument. He can't make it stick because he's constantly on the defense. And this is the thing. He tried to go ahead and throw shit on Donald Trump, and Donald just went, nope, we're talking about politics. We're talking about policies. He just can't compete because when you lie and you don't have a leg to stand on, it doesn't work. It doesn't stick, man. It just doesn't stick. All right. So to the no, we can't. We can't. I got to cut it off. I got to cut it off. Or I'm going to be here till 2 in the morning. I've already worked a fucking 14-hour day. Or 16-hour day. I can't do anymore. We got to cut it off. It's my fault. I'm talking too much, but I got to cut it off. Here we go.
No one.
It's my fault, Leroy. Sorry.
No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up or go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians, they've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president in American history. One through best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. He can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care, he did virtually nothing to child care.
Leroy, answer this question. Ashley says, do you think they put him out there like this on purpose to try and get him replaced with someone else quickly in 10 seconds?
I don't think they did. I don't think that was the intent.
Yeah.
I don't either. I think this is what they've got. This is what they ran with. And there's nothing they can do. I think Democrats realize that they have a chance to win the House and the Senate because America is probably not going to give Trump a mandate. I don't think they trust him enough for that. And they're very content with giving him a lame duck session. And unfortunately, that's what Trump's probably going to get. But it really sets us up nicely for 2028. And it puts somebody like Glenn Youngkin in place, maybe a DeSantis. I don't care what you think about Haley, whatever. It doesn't matter. We have plenty. Republicans have well-known names. The Democrats have AOC and the squad, and they are shit progressives. Okay, moving on.
Significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden.
Facilities.
President Trump, the question
To hold,
was
to
about
have
what would you
forever
do to make
in
childcare
honor
more
and
affordable. If you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong about, he's increased the tariff, he will increase the taxes on middle-class people.
How?
I said I'd never raise a tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. But this tariff is 10% tariff.
I'm paying
Everything
more.
coming into the country.
I'm paying more.
I'm paying more.
That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that are very important. Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised, he somehow helped the middle class. Middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. You had the largest deficit of any president in American history.
Right, $5 trillion is going to bankrupt the country over 10 years, but $500 billion in $200 billion in 2 years to Ukraine isn't. Give me a break. I know. We got to press play.
Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are at the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you, President Biden.
You lost
Thank you, President Biden.
Who's been there?
Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot, and we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways. But the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen, at numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden?
Fentanyl and the byproducts of fentanyl went down for a while.
I'm not giving Trump points on that. He didn't address the question. He didn't talk about what he's got to talk about rehabilitation. He's got to talk about, instead of giving out, money in Medicare. Amy, go ahead, please. You guys haven't had a chance. What else? What would you like to have heard him say? Me too. It's hot.
I think he should have addressed more about the fentanyl crisis, the drugs coming over our border. I think he's just assuming people are going to equate like shutting down the border with the fentanyl, but he needs to spell that out. And then also, what are you going to do about the drugs that are here that we're giving away crack pipes to people in vending machines? Like, what? I don't know. He should have said something. I agree. Yeah,
and that's the only, listen, I hate to say it, but we're almost an hour in, and that's the only negative I have to say. It's not even a negative. He didn't answer the question, and that's fine, and that's okay. I'm just saying we know what he wants to do, but he's got to talk about rehabilitation. If people can't afford $30,000 in some LA resort, they need to make mental hospitals and also rehabilitation simultaneously increase those and give people incentive to put it into the rural towns, to put it into the oppressed towns. They don't have the ability to go to the big city, and they're trying to cure themselves. They can't, and they wind up dying from it. We've got to figure out how to get mental institutions and rehabilitation centers to grow again in the United States. We need about 3,000 of them, to be honest with you. And Reagan made a mistake by closing those down, and so did Clinton. Liv, anything on fentanyl? I know you're tired, honey.
No.
Okay.
I want to add one.
You don't get to add. We've added too much. I got to give it to the girls sometimes. We got to go. We can't have four people talk. We're going to be here till 2 a.m. It's my fault. I'm doing the best I can.
Wow. And I wanted to make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl, these big machines that roll over everything that comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal. More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people at the border. And when we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleagues, said, don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically. No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill. We need those machines. We need those machines. And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl. And Mexico is working with us to make sure they don't have the technology to be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, and again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now, struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say there's a hostage. Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter, I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago, but Putin's probably asking.
Folks, very quickly, if you've not been over to Wimkin, they have fentanyl tests over there. It's something we're going to be talking about on this show. We're going to be bringing them onto this show. But there is no magic machine. There's no magic drone. This isn't picking up rads or radiation from a bird or a satellite. Fentanyl can't be picked up that way through a machine or a sniff test. It has to be physically tested. That is one of the main things that makes it so hard to trace. Leroy, any fentanyl, 15 seconds?
I wanted to know what the actual numbers were between Americans who had passed between 2016 to 2020 versus 2020 to 2024. I'm looking at it on the NIH.gov site right now, and it looks like under Biden's watch, the number of Americans who have died from fentanyl is roughly 2/3 more than Trump. I would have brought that up during the debate.
Good job. Appreciate it. Amy, do you need to go because of the heat? Because you're looking
No,
like
I just told Jason. No, he brought me a drink. I was like, "Can I have an adult drink now that Olivia's drinking?" So, and I was like, "Please turn on the air." It's just so hot in my eyes. I'm dying.
Oh, okay, go ahead and press play.
This guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where we paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around the horrible situation he left me. As I said, 50 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs.
50 million new jobs. You're so full of shit.
Over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought off a lot of people. Well, the whole idea of computer chips. We used to have 40% of the market. We invented those chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas and then bring home a product.
No, so that was Obama, you dipshit.
I convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States. And
Samsung is not an American-based company.
They call it, to build these chips. Those fabs pay over $100,000. You don't need a college degree for them. And there's billions, about $40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
Where? Yeah. Tell me where.
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I never heard a president talk like this before.
It's called the truth,
the
dude.
Of the world. Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country.
And a person with a donkey would definitely trade it for a Pinto, but not a person who owned a Cadillac in their life. So for you to sit here and make comparison contrast that we should settle for mediocrity as a country shows why you're not the man for the job. Right there. There's no reason to continue. You're okay with mediocrity. Live, go.
Mary Liberty's daughter was just found. She's on her way home.
Thank God. Good.
wanted
That's the
to
best
say that.
news tonight. Listen, that's even better than what's happening on this debate. That's good news. Folks,
It's amazing
we are
news.
100% funded by you. linktapgo.com/thedumshow. You guys have made an incredible month for us, helped us out. Listen, you pay for the lights, you pay for the broadband. Most importantly, put food on our table. That's what this is about. It doesn't go to any company. It doesn't go to PayPal. It doesn't go to Facebook. It goes to the show. We have had a wonderful, wonderful couple months. Amy and Leroy, co-owners and co-founders of this show. They've been here since pretty much the beginning. They just give tirelessly.
We did all the work.
They do all the work. I don't do anything. We get all these donations and we laugh at them and say, you guys don't get anything. Listen, this is an amazing thing that we're doing here. We love that you're all here. We've had over 25,000 views on Wimkin. We've got 300 people watching now. This is amazing. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. If you have the ability to help the show continue to grow, this is how you do it. linktapgo.com/thedumshow. Facebook took 90% of our revenue. Now, over the last 3 months, we're 100% funded by our viewers. So everything helps. Anything helps. And if you can't afford, just hit a like, share, follow. Tell your friends about us. Everything else. That's all. We got to move on. Anybody who needs to go, okay? You don't need to stay here, Amy and Leroy. I'm staying until the end. I promise the viewers I'm not going anywhere.
By the way, Amy, your prayer really worked. Good job.
I love it. Prayers help, folks.
Yeah. Prayer helps. It wasn't my prayer. It was all the prayers.
It's all the prayers. It was also me guilting. Help Amy Stamkone too. Amy has been blessed and the community has helped. She received shares from Wimkin. She's loved. She's going to be here for a while. All the moderators deserve something. We need to just get a contract signed for $10 million a year. That way I can give Amy a mill, give Leroy a mill, give a few $100,000 to the moderators, and we can just, that's what we need. So let's
live
get
on less than that. So like, I'm okay with just like, I like our life the way I don't want to be.
We also got to pay for the boobs. Got to pay for the boobs.
Yours?
No. Yes, Olivia's boobs, they need help. Okay, here we go.
Who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us. All of our allies, and those who he cuddles up to, from Kim Jong Un, who he sends love letters to, and Putin, etc. They don't want to screw around with us.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your...
Why are Joe Biden's eyes blue and not black like they usually are? Because remember, they went to black?
Yes.
What the fuck is going on?
I was actually going to pay attention to that. I'm glad you pointed it out because I was looking at photos today to see when they turn black and they're blue tonight. So...
I'm confused because, I hear all this thing that he has a body double and I've never bought into this shit. But I'll tell you what, I've seen this Joe Biden before where his eyes are blue and this doesn't look like the Joe Biden who has black eyes. What the fuck is going on here?
I think if they're going to use a body double, they would at least get colored contacts or that person's
Listen,
really fucking stupid.
I think it's the same guy. I just think of what drug he's on versus dilated and undilated.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking. I think it's the same fucking guy. I just think that it depends on what drug they want him on. But right now, whatever he's on right now, he needs an upper. Like they need to get like fucking Walter White and science, they need to get him some meth, some blue meth, some sky blue shit, have him smoke some crack, smoke some meth, because whatever he's on ain't working. Just saying.
That NZT, whatever it is, isn't doing the job anymore.
No, cattle prod up the ass might work.
Yeah.
Second
I
term.
enjoy that though.
What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they've never seen anybody ace them.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds.
Are you gonna make fun of his weight?
Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what you're. Anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him.
A driving
I got
contest?
my handicap, which when I was vice president,
Only
down
on a
to
bike.
6.
You didn't have a 6 handicap.
I told you before, I'm happy to play golf with you if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
What?
That's the biggest lie that he's a 6 handicap of all.
How is it?
This is great.
Dude, listen, can I just say this?
I love it.
Of all the things that Trump says, Joe Biden, Donald Trump would fucking destroy you at golf. The guy is an amazing golfer. Yeah, dude, Biden, seriously, we know that you were marched in civil rights. We know you were an astronaut. We know you served in the military with your son Bo in Iraq. But brother, this guy would fuck you up with one hand tied behind his back. All right, we're almost done.
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay,
Let's not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to turn
Let's not act like children.
to a specific concern that voters have about you. Will you pledge tonight that one?
I would just been like, listen, Joe, honestly, having a -6 handicap and being mentally handicapped are not the same thing. So that's what I would have said.
Hey, can I say something really
Yeah,
quick?
yeah.
When I'm waiting for I'm going to take you out back.
Yeah.
Bleacher's comment.
Yeah.
But just so everyone knows, if for any reason you make a comment and it gets censored, it is not us.
No.
It is Facebook. We do not censor you unless you use derogatory terms. We can mute you from. Well, none of us have done that. So somebody's all pissed off that we're censoring them, and we're not censoring anyone.
Listen, for you people, we don't. Does
We
it look
can't
like
censor you.
we have fucking time to censor you? We can hardly do this. We're trying to put a 2-hour debate on time while having commentary so we don't get hit for copyright. We don't have time to censor you. And if you're upset with Facebook, there's a solution, folks. It's to go over to Wimkin. And now that I've got the most people on, thank you for this person. You can blame the person who's claiming censorship. Here's an ad you need to see. And trust me, this is funny. So take a minute after all we've provided and just watch this. Wimkin.
Are you tired of being constantly banned off of every social media platform for saying facts only to be proven right 6 months later after you already had to create a new account? Tired of Fuckerberg robot AI-looking bitch constantly putting you in Facebook jail? Or maybe a geriatric old bastard who shits his pants in front of the Pope became the resident-in-chief because his crack addict, traitorous son had complete media silence about traitorous actions and backdoor deals with the big guy. And those bastards ban you for sharing the story. If you said yes to 2 of the 3 above, you don't need to circle back like a failed White House spokesperson who has 2 alcoholic drinks for a name. Up in Wimkin, we think it's fair not to sell your data to China, even though their president is super inclusive and named Xi. We kind of have a problem with the whole harvesting organs, slave labor, and communism. We also don't compromise you or get your kids to do stupid and dangerous trends. So you don't have to find out secondhand your kid Johnny is an idiot. Look no further than Wimkin. Made and housed in the USA, Wimkin offers all the features of Facebook and more, with complete data privacy and safe for your whole family. Download us on your app store today and join the community of users who value privacy and safety. Wimkin.
There you go. You guys can thank the person that blamed us for censoring. Now you have a solution. Go over to wimkin.com, and now you won't have to complain and interrupt a wonderful show because you think we're censoring you. And by the way, we're just kidding because we have sense of humor here. But if your vagina hurts, welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. We promise the only thing that you'll get more is more of that.
You will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable.
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. And I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility,
Terry.
not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. But the only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because
Look
of him.
at him.
His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III, let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want. There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is attack on all, and required response.
Look at his
the
eyes.
The idea. I can't think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done and what they've done. Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because our own safety is at stake. And again, you want to have a war, just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens in Poland, Hungary, and other.
I told you that this whole debate was going to be Joe Biden trying to have people go back 4 years and remember what it was like under Trump, when they only remember how bad it is under Biden. He's not going to be able to do it. This is why Trump is winning. It's an impossible feat, because this is the first time ever you've had two presidents with a history to be able to account for. You can't sit here and tell people, then piss on them and tell them it's raining. And you also can't fucking, you can't rain. It can't rain and then tell them it's piss. They know the difference. And you're trying to fucking put shit back in a horse. You can't do that, pal. And he didn't cause wars. Everyone knows that. So you can sit here and say these things, but the common layman knows this, because they're like, do we have a war under Trump? We didn't. Okay, Joe's lying. And if Joe's lying about this, what else is he lying about? It isn't hard.
As in Poland, Hungary, and other places along that border. Then you have a war.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. He's not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia. Because Ukraine's not winning.
I can't wait for
war.
Joe to snap.
He
Just
said,
fucking
I will
snap.
never settle until
you know,
such
fuck
time.
you, man.
They're
Say
running out
it.
of
Just
people.
say
They're
it.
running
You
out of
want to.
soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so
He looks like he
sad.
wants to beat him up.
They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the gold.
No, Joe knows that he's lost. The smiling Joe is not there anymore. He's dead.
No, look at that.
2020.
Look at that face.
Look at him. He's done. There's no smiling Joe. That's the one thing that he always had, was that crooked smile. He doesn't have it. He's tried it one time tonight. He can't. He just knows. He just knows it's over. He's getting his fucking ass handed to him.
He might fire his first person
all
tonight.
because of
Yeah.
him and
The
stupid
person who got him into
decisions.
this debate.
Russia
Yeah.
would have never attacked
himself.
if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of
Yes.
who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our
just said
country.
yes.
I would be very happy to be someplace else in a
It's
nice
fine. Let him do it.
location
Let him do
someplace.
it.
And again, no indictments.
He's earned the
no
right
political
to say
opponent
whatever the
stuff,
fuck he wants
because
at
it's
this
the only
point,
way
right?
He thinks he can win, but unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
He answered your question. Now shut up,
This
people.
election is
CNN.
over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing.
Shut
There's
up, Trump.
no evidence
Shut
of that
up.
at all.
Don't say
And
it.
I tell you
Don't
what,
take the bait.
I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner.
Okay.
The idea, if you lose again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
All right.
He's just
We'll be
smiling.
right
Look at
back.
that.
With
Perfect.
more from the
Dude.
CNN president.
Trump's learned, dude. He's learned to shut up.
Goodness.
He's finally learned to shut up. And
Just
that is
smiling.
that's
Yep.
the best win you could ever just, you know what? Okay, Joe, you get to say whatever you want, Grandpa.
Increased inflation because of the
Ear ringing sounded like a constant train whistle.
It was a train whistle.
We've made
All
significant
the
progress from the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last term. We find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience or anyone out watching this debate, do you think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I said nobody even making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes and will not.
That's a lie. That's a lie. My
again.
taxes went up.
But
Amy.
This guy has increased
Mine
your
are through
taxes
the roof.
because of the deficit.
Leroy?
Number one.
Yep.
He's increased
Lie.
inflation because of the debacle he left.
He
after
increased inflation?
when
He
handled
increased
the
it. I
pandemic.
thought it was Vladimir
And
Putin's
the
fault.
final
Wait. I thought gas prices and inflation was Putin's fault. Oh, okay, never mind.
Right.
wants to tax
I thought it was only transitory, motherfucker.
Right.
wants to
6
tax
I'm
weeks to
sorry,
flatten the
folks.
curve. Yeah.
Yeah, folks, I only have so much. This is why I'm not on a major cable news network, by the way, because I don't have the fucking patience not to just drop some bombs here. Listen, this is bullshit. Everything he says is bullshit. It's just bullshit. That's the best way to describe it. Bullshit.
Bullshit, bullshit,
wants
bullshit.
to
That's
tax
right.
you more
Bullshit.
by putting a 10% tariff on everything that comes into the United States of America. What I did, when, for example, he wants to get get rid of the ability of Medicare for
Bullshit.
the ability for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400.
Oh, God, dude.
No more than $2,000 for every senior.
Bullshit.
No matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior all along. It's happening now, and everybody in America. He wants to get rid of that. I'm going to make sure that we have child care. We're going to significantly increase the credit.
Ethan? Joe Biden? Looks like Edmonton in the first 3 games.
That's a perfect analogy.
Just FYI.
Oh, goodness.
I'm going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation.
Lead pipes. Didn't he just say in an interview that all the lead pipes have been replaced and that he got all the lead pipes out of the United States? I will show you that fact check tomorrow. He said that that all lead pipes have been replaced. He said that in an interview or a quick flash. I don't remember. I'm too fucking tired, but I have that. I've got it downloaded on my computer. Dude, they're the commercials. My God, I cannot wait to watch because the amount of, the GOP is just going to absolutely just raffle pone him. There's going to be commercials for days on this. Fun. The fact that he said abortions should be legal through the third trimester.
That's the first one that's going.
He's done. He's fucked. They're gonna. He will not. He's lost Virginia. Virginia's done. Every single red state. There's not a chance that Arizona is going to go with him. There's not a chance that Nevada's in play now. Democrats do not believe in third trimester abortions. That's murder. They've said it's murder. He's fucked. I know. I got to keep playing.
Only crazy people believe in that. I mean, we may not all agree on the same thing, but like, come on.
Yeah, dude, you're a piece of shit.
Give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes.
Get the guns in there too.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do, all he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have...
Shirley says they're tearing Trump apart on TV. Good.
Of course they are.
Of course they are.
What else do they got? Anything less.
What else do they got? They don't got any. America saw it. It doesn't matter what they say. America saw this. And they're going to see it on every commercial as this guy openly, literally stumbled. The montage they have, they could write a song on. A 20-minute song of blah, 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 because he's just mumbling. It doesn't matter how bad Trump did tonight because that's what everybody thought was going to happen. Yeah. It's that Biden literally shit. He shit a purple Twinkie on stage.
Make sure for everyone who's watching, we still have close to 300 people on. Make sure that you share your opinion of the results of this debate on every social media platform that you have. Make sure you do that.
True. Yes, and also register for Wimkin and follow us and come back.
Of everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you, because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like, even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett.
Nobody gives a shit.
Brain fart twice during the
change it. Very many people.
I want to make one other point, which is that Trump, a prominent Democrat.
Hold on,
dude, that was fun.
But much of the you can go and you can get something you.
They're not going to give him final word.
At times stumbling through early answers.
Final word.
That was it?
In the room, the donkey in the room, whatever you want to call it
you
tonight.
Didn't give him a minute to say
this is the issue that
no, he had 2 minutes. That's what
I just didn't. Maybe, listen, maybe I'm tired, folks. I work a lot of hours.
It's late.
Okay, we stopped keeping score. Okay. I'm just going to give my quick analysis. Okay, here it is. Donald Trump was reserved. Donald Trump didn't raise his voice one night. Donald Trump did not belittle once. He did not insult him. He called him Brandon. That was kind of funny.
Yeah,
But Donald Trump seemed spry. He seemed like he absorbed the hits. It seemed like Donald Trump came across, which is I can't believe I'm gonna say it's like an empath. He came across like he cares. Like he's here because he is just horribly fucking upset at what Joe Biden's doing. And it came off not as fake. He put his losses in the minority and he put his successes in the majority very, very well. And that's Trump. As far as Joe Biden, I'm at a fucking loss. Like it's like what I watched was if Conor McGregor decided to fight Dylan Mulvaney. That's what I just watched. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. It's like, what the fuck is Dylan Mulvaney even in that ring for? Like, he's going to get killed. We all knew it, but then he did it. And that was so fucking bad. I think Kamala Harris would have done better. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was, is Kamala would have done better. Liv, go. You get your minute.
I think Trump's final score is 2024.
That's a very good score. Very
what you
funny.
just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Yeah.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, Liv with the mic drop. Outstanding, Liv. That was the best one you've done. Amy, go.
So I have two things really quickly. One, Joe Biden needs to retire. Let this man go live on a beach. Let him wrestle with his beach chair, not our economy. Let him retire. He needs to rest. He deserves it. He's worked for 80, however old he is. I don't know.
He's plagiarized and lied for 83 years, but you can say
Well,
that. And
he's
supported
put in
Klan
some
members.
Hours. He's put in some hours. Also, I saw this video this morning, and they were saying that Jim Carrey was his body double, and they were doing all these comparisons from like his movie scenes where he's falling down and eating ice cream, and I'm like, oh my gosh, dang it! If that wouldn't be the most funny thing, I thought that was funny. So that's my 2 cents. I obviously think Trump won by a landslide.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Leroy?
I thought that Trump, to your point, was very well reserved. I felt that he brought up more substantive points, and that everything that he did bring up was based in truth. You could tell that he cared about the people that he represented. I felt that Joe Biden did way too much deflection. There was way too much. It was like this when I got it. And then actually, if everyone remembers, at one point he said that he inherited this terrible inflation. And then later on, basically said, it was zero when I got it because of this. So you just admitted that you lied, right? Just admitted it right there on stage.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
And so I think the clear winner there was obviously Trump, and for good reason. That was my takeaway.
I think it's a fantastic takeaway. I think the panel did a great job tonight. I want to thank everybody for getting through it.
And I want to thank Greg for staying with us. He was the one who thought we censored him.
Oh, and Craig, thanks for taking the hit, dude.
The mods calmed him down. Now he has to answer the questions of pineapple on pizza.
Oh, fuck you, Craig.
And
there's only one answer to this, and it's not pineapple.
And pie, does it have to have a top crust to be considered
Pie
a pie?
absolutely has to have a top crust, and pineapple on pizza is for fascists and liberals. I'm going to say the last thing here, and just last word for the night. I want to thank everyone for making this possible. There was a time when we would have 3 people on. I remember the first debates we ran. It was rough. I think it was like 110 people, which was probably our highlight of our life. We'll never eclipse this.
Freaked out.
We'll never eclipse this. This is amazing, and it's been a rough ride, but it's been one that I would never change. This tonight makes me just I don't know, probably 30,000 views on Wimkin, right?
Let me look. I'm going to refresh
Incredible
it right now.
to have all the people here who just participated. We appreciate you. And it's hard here sometimes. There's things where I'll say things you don't like. And I've been hard on Trump, and I've had a freaking right to be hard on Trump. And tonight, I've got nothing but accolades for him because I was not embarrassed at all by anything he said. I liked him again tonight. And there's times where I haven't liked him. He's grown up. And I can't believe I'm going to say it sounds so condescending. He has matured and understands that he doesn't have to win every single comment. All he has to do is go ahead and plead his case and talk about the things that he did well. And tonight he was magnanimous. I thought he was wonderful. I was proud to have him on stage. I think I'm going to be really, really proud to have him as president again, because here's the thing. The last thing I'm going to say about this. If anyone votes for Joe Biden, I don't believe America is stupid. I don't think most people are dumb. But if you fucking vote for him again, you are the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. You cannot put that man in office, not because of what he did over the last 4 years, which were horrendous, but what he is going to do for the next 4. That man is not in charge of his faculties. That man checked out because he has not been up this late in 4 years. And that's the truth. That's the fucking truth. Yeah. This guy is exhausted because he has not been up this late. He had that look of, I'm exhausted. I'm tired.
They should have did it earlier. I just pre-recorded it. I don't know why.
No, it was perfect. This was the best time in the world, because when that phone call comes at 3 o'clock in the morning, that man is not the one you want to answer it. And maybe Donald Trump isn't either. But here's the thing. That means you just don't vote for Biden and don't even show up. Go out for some cocktails that day on election day and let us do the work. We've got this, America. Let us go ahead and take care of it. You just go out and have some fun. Don't even worry about this election. We don't even need you to vote. We'll take care of it, okay? Donald Trump 2024. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Back tomorrow, Friday night. I don't know. Is everyone coming? And you don't have to.
I cannot be here.
I will be here. This is tomorrow. No, tomorrow is no Damani. It's next week, correct?
Next Friday, Damani is going to be here. I'm also getting the Burn Pit. They talked to me today. Maddie Wack and the Burn Pit are going to be here. These guys are military. They're going to make fun of Leroy and I because we're support and they're infantry. I really don't give a shit. We've all seen some shit. Can't wait to get them on. These guys have opinions that we may not like, but they are worth listening to. They are about 90% on our page. There's some things that I don't agree with them on, but I like them. They're intelligent. They're smart. It's going to be a good show. We've also got that fantastic Arthur is going to be here as well. So we got a lot coming on. Folks, thanks for watching. Please do me a favor if you can. Go to thedumshow.com. Get some cool swag. Everybody's wearing Don't Unfriend Me stuff except for Leroy, except for his hat. And if you can, help donate to the show. It makes it possible. If you like what you saw tonight, please consider giving a little bit to the show. linktapgo.com/thedumshow. We would appreciate it. God bless. Thanks for watching. Leroy and Amy, we love you. Thank you, Livy.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Good night, everybody.
Saturday, though. I'll be here Saturday. Just send me the info. I don't know what to do.
Saturday, Dumb Club. We're watching Primary Colors. Yep. Everybody's invited.
I might sign up now. Doing that from the car.
Whatever. Good night. We love you. Appreciate you. Leroy, thanks for tolerating me tonight. Good night. See ya.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.